All right. Calling to session the Board of Education meeting for Sac City Unified School District. Hi. You need to do roll call? I always forget. What do we need to do?
Roll call.
Roll call. Let's do roll call.
Member Jean? Here. Member Kayada?
Here.
Member Phillips is here. Member Pritchett? Here. Member Rhodes?
Present.
Member Singh?
Here.
Member Villa is absent right now.
Perfect. Do we have any public comment?
There's none.
Awesome. We're going to close now.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Not really.
Can you hear out there?
Say it again.
If you can hear me in the back row, please put your hand up. Can you hear me in the back row now? If you can hear me in the back row, put your hand up. Got it. Okay. I was up here talking, and y'all couldn't hear me because my mic wasn't on, so we're good now. All right, so we're opening back up to our open session. And I always do that. My bad. Pledge of Allegiance, Madam Superintendent.
Everyone, please stand.
Thank you. Item 4.2, we're going to welcome our new student board member. So before you come up, I want to tell everyone a little bit about you. So our new student board member is Justine Chu Griffith. And from what I understand, she's a rising junior at West Campus High School and has been attending our school since elementary. And within her school community, she chairs the School Site Council, is co-president of the school's Gay Student Alliance, and is the president of the Student Equity Team. Outside of school, she coaches Challenger League baseball and is part of Sacramento City Unified Student Advisory Council. She is excited to serve as Sacramento City Unified School District Student Board member this year with the hope of continuing to make space for youth perspectives and craft board resolutions to better the educational opportunities provided to all students within the district. So we're going to welcome you up here. This is your seat. Picture's already been taken of this, correct? Come on up. How about one, Phil? I can lean. And this is your seat. Oh, I'm excited. Always excited to have a new student board member. I hate to see the old ones go, but we expect just as much fire from you and probably more because we've seen you out working out here. So I'm excited. So welcome to the board. And I'm just going to move right on because this is how we do. So item 4.3 is your job, and you're going to read our broadcast statement.
This meeting of the Sacramento City School Board is being recorded and will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast and AT&T U-verse systems. Today's meeting will be aired Sunday, August 11th at 9 a.m. and Monday, August 12th at 12 p.m. It is also webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov and can be viewed on Metro Cable 14's YouTube channel. We welcome members of the audience to address the board. Please complete a speaker form which are located in the back of the room and give them to our communications representative along with any handouts you may have for the board prior to the conclusion of the item's presentation. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Please limit comments during public comment to items that are not on the agenda. If you do comment on an item that is listed on the agenda, we will ask that you please defer your comments until your item comes up on the agenda. Please also either turn off your cell phones or place them on silent mode.
Thank you. Item 5.0, announcement of action taken in closed session. Madam Counsel.
Good evening, President Phillips.
The board approved settlement agreements identified as OAH case numbers 2024040907 and 2024040986 related to special education services, each one by a vote of 6-0 with member Villa absent. The board approved a settlement agreement in Sacramento County Superior Court case number 34202200329898 by a vote of 6-0 with member Villa absent again, and the material terms of the settlement include a one-time payment of $61,500 and release of claims. The superintendent will read the last announcement.
Thank you. I am pleased to announce that the board approved the following appointment. By a vote of 6-0 with board member Villa absent, the board approved the appointment of Frances Thompson as principal of Sutterville Elementary School. And she is.
Welcome to the fold, Ms. Thompson. Item 6.0, agenda adoption. Seconded? All in favor? Aye. Fantastic. That passes on. Item 7.0, public comment. Do we have any public comment, sir?
We do. We have more than 20 people who have yielded their time to Erin Leone, so Ms. Leone gets 15 minutes.
Okay. And that's total for that. Okay, then that's awesome. So, Ms. Leone, you can come on up to the fore and bring your crowd with you. Can't see out of my glasses today. That's great. Good evening. The mic is yours. There's a little button on the side, on the right-hand side, that is up, down. You can raise it higher if you need to. What? I'm never quite sure exactly where it is. If you're okay, you don't need to raise it up any?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
This is fine, thank you.
All yours.
All right, good evening, Superintendent Allen, board members, colleagues, and community members. My name is Erin Leone, and I'm an educator here in our district. I am also a proud generational alumna of Sacramento City Unified School District with deep roots in this community. In May, I had the honor of attending a board meeting where I was honored with the Teacher of the Year Award for the 2024-2025 school year. And we are here. We are here because we value public education and we know the transformative power that it holds for our students and for our community. We would like to begin by acknowledging that our school district, which was established in 1854, was built on the traditional lands of the Nishanan and Miwok peoples. We honor their enduring presence and stewardship of this land. We would also like to extend an ancestral acknowledgement to the generations of families, community members, and educators, both named and unnamed, who have endured, resisted, and thrived despite the systemic oppression and injustices faced within this school district since its inception. Today, we carry forward the legacy of those who have fought and continue to fight for equity and justice, drawing inspiration from the enduring strength and resilience of our predecessors. Recent incidents within our school district have drawn significant media attention, highlighting a deeper systemic issue that must be addressed. These incidents reveal a pressing need for accountability and systemic change within our schools and our unions. In response, we have crafted an accountability and restorative justice policy proposal to address the systemic issues and to drive meaningful reform. We are here today to present this proposal and to advocate for the critical changes that it outlines. Before I proceed, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone present for their support, our families, parents, students, community members, educators. Your presence here is a testament to the strength and the unity of our community, so thank you. This is our call for accountability and restorative justice. We recognize that there is a need for an accountability process. As educators, we often proclaim our commitment to equity and anti-racism, aiming to foster an inclusive and just environment for all students. However, we must recognize that genuine efforts toward these goals are inherently challenging and disruptive to the status quo. The pursuit of equity and anti-racism demands a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths and to question long-standing norms that have perpetuated inequitable systems. Unfortunately, there is a persistent tendency within our institutions to resist such disruptions, even in the midst of claiming to be disruptors. This resistance manifests in various ways, and one of which is the protective mechanisms that enable harmful and ineffective teachers to file grievances when their practices are challenged. Grievances serve to silence those who courageously call out inequities, reinforcing a system that favors the maintenance of existing power dynamics over the needs of marginalized communities. The true aggrieved parties in an unjust system, students and educators who are harmed by inequitable practices, are often ignored or rendered invisible. More often than not, when disruptors highlight these issues, they are frequently labeled as the problem rather than the solution. This mischaracterization serves to protect the power and the privilege of those who benefit from the status quo, rather than addressing the root causes of inequity. It's imperative that we as a community reflect on this dynamic and commit to supporting those who seek to disrupt inequitable systems. We must be willing to listen to and validate the experiences of those who are marginalized and hold accountable those whose practices perpetuate harm. True equity and anti-racism work requires courage and an unwavering commitment to justice, even when it's uncomfortable. We ask how SCTA and SCUSD will work together to navigate the inevitable discomfort that comes with disrupting systemic racism. What is the process or the plan for accountability when educators cause harm? How will SCTA and SCUSD ensure that educators who cause harm are educated, monitored, and held accountable for repairing the harm? How will SCTA and SCUSD work in concert to ensure the integrity of the teaching profession? This policy outlines our proposed accountability measures for teachers within the Sac City Unified School District who were found to be at fault in investigations of professional misconduct or harm caused. The policy is designed to ensure that educators are held accountable in a manner that is fair, just, and aligned with the restorative justice principles modeled after Indigenous restorative justice practices. It's essential that both the Sacramento City Teachers Association, SCTA, and SCUSD agree to a restorative justice process to foster a collaborative and supportive environment for accountability and growth. Our proposed accountability process is a 5-step process, and it begins with investigation and due process. All educators will be represented and receive due process during any investigation into professional misconduct or harm caused. Investigations will be thorough, impartial, and conducted with respect for all of the parties involved. Step 2 in this process is a restorative practices committee. If the investigation finds that the educator is at fault, the educator will be held accountable for restoring the harm caused. A restorative practices committee composed of representatives from SCTA, SCUSD, site administrators, and community members will determine the appropriate restorative actions. The committee will consider the nature of the harm and the needs of the affected parties in making their recommendations. Step 3 is training and support. Educators found at fault will be provided with adequate training and support to address the root causes of the harm that has been caused. Training will include the use of real experiences of systemic racism in our district to inform our practices. This involves identifying and deconstructing how harm is perpetuated, not relying solely on hypothetical scenarios in online training. While respecting the privacy of the individuals involved, such incidents, real history, and incidents will be used to facilitate the recognize, interrupt, and repair RIR protocol, ensuring a deeper understanding and more effective learning. Step 4 is monitoring and follow-up. Educators will be monitored by the Restorative Practices Committee for follow-up to ensure that they are implementing the learnings from their trainings and making necessary improvements. Regular check-ins and evaluations will be conducted to assess progress. The final step in our proposed accountability process is removal for noncompliance. Educators who are unable or unwilling to learn, grow, or repair the harm caused will be subject to removal from their position. This decision will be made in consultation with the Restorative Practices Committee and based on clear evidence of noncompliance. The implementation of this policy requires agreement and collaboration between SCTA and SCUSD. This policy is designed to promote accountability, healing, social justice, and professional growth, ultimately benefiting the entire school community. This proposal is a push for building an anti-racist educational environment for both our students and staff. It demands that educators who work in our schools are committed to upholding an anti-racist environment and aligning with our vision to address systemic racism in our district. This work is challenging, and it will inevitably cause discomfort, but it is a necessary and constructive discomfort. We want to ensure that administrators facilitating this work are also supported and not subject to grievances for doing so. When discomfort arises, rather than filing grievances, educators will be encouraged to sit with the discomfort and unpack it, fostering a culture of reflection and growth. We invite you to join us in supporting this proposed policy. Your endorsement will help us to create a more equitable and restorative environment for all. Together, we can ensure that our professional community upholds the highest standards of accountability and support. Sincerely, the Alliance of Anti-Racist Educators at SCUSD. Thank you for your time and your dedication to our students and our community. We understand that by law, the board is only allowed to take action on items that have been placed on the agenda, so please let us know now when our accountability and restorative justice policy will be added.
The only thing I believe I can do at this time is ask for it to be returned so that we can have conversation about it. This has been turned in at some point, submitted? Okay. So it's a whole process that I don't have 100% understanding of, but.
You received an email, Lisa Allen and Ms. Phillips, you were included on that.
So we're looking at a formal process for inputting this information. So, Madam Superintendent, do you have anything to, because we just need to take it back.
There is a process that has to be followed. It has to be agendized. The executive board has to approve that it's going to be agendized and when that will happen. And so we have other items, of course, that are already on the board agendas. We have it mapped out for the year. This will be something that we can take back, discuss with the executive board, and then determine when and if this will come back to the board for board discussion.
We don't intend on waiting the entire school year for an accountability or restorative justice policy.
That's not what I said. We have to do is go back and discuss when it can come back, if that's the will of the board.
And can you give us a commitment right now that that is something that you all intend to do?
So we can't make any decisions, but we can tell you, and again, because it's not agendized and this is public comment and we have the information submitted, we are at a point where we can take it back. Are you our point of contact? Is there a person? Okay, so specifically, if we have our conversations about setting an agenda for this item or when we're going to do that, we will obviously let you know. But I know it does feel like no movement because it's not an agendized item. So we have to think about how to get this on the agenda as soon as possible in order to satisfy what you guys are requesting. That's going to take some wiggling, and that's going to take some extra conversation during our planning meetings. So without asking anyone to say yes or no, that's the most we can offer right now, but I don't believe that it has fallen on deaf ears.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You do have 1 minute and 12 seconds left. You can either do what you want with it or yield it back.
Take a moment of silence for all of our students in our district who have been harmed by educators who perpetuate racism and who have been harmed by an inequitable system. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, 8.0 communications, our employee organization reports. First up, SCTA.
Good evening, Board President Phillips, Superintendent Allen, and other members of the board, and our new student board member. I'm Nikki Malevsky, President of the Sacramento City Teachers Association. I have with me a couple members of our equity team that I'll introduce in a minute, but I just wanted to say that the fight for racial, economic, and social justice is at the forefront of SCTA's mission. And for over a decade, we have been working with community organizations such as the Black Parallel School Board to develop and implement and support restorative practices culture throughout Sac City schools, as well as advocating for and negotiating mandated unconscious bias and anti-racist trainings. Recognizing that there is still work to do, back in 2017, we made our first proposal to the district to contractually embed restorative practices into our contract. We tried again to negotiate it in the next reopener in 2020. Years later, we continue to advocate for such a cultural shift, the need for which is reflected in some of the disturbing incidences that have occurred in Sac City Unified recently. With that in mind, I would like to introduce Alma Lepe Santana and Ian Moore from our award-winning equity team. Take it away.
Good evening. On behalf of all the members of SCTA's equity team, we would like to express our profound appreciation to the Alliance of Anti-Racist Educators at SCUSD for drafting their policy proposal and reinvigorating this important discussion. We share the values expressed in the policy proposal and have been deeply troubled to learn of the harms experienced by both students and educators.
As educators ourselves, we know disrupting the impacts of racism on our students is a vital work for their education and their well-being. We also value protecting our colleagues from the harms of racism and agree that restorative practice are an important tool to help achieve our shared aims. We hope that we, the district, and the Alliance of Anti-Racist Educators can work together to bring this vision to fruition for the benefit of all of us in the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alma and Ian, and the large team of educators that you represent that formulate our equity team. I know the team is working with our resources at CTA to secure even more racial justice, equity, and human rights trainings this year, and hope to have a schedule of trainings available soon. We also want to say that we appreciate the work the district's engagement with SCTA and Sac State to create a long-term learning plan for our educators that prioritizes culture and climate, as well as literacy and numeracy, as well as multi-tiered systems of support. We hope that information gathered in these surveys that will be conducted in person during the 3 days before school starts will help us to develop the best professional learning plan. We also look forward to our upcoming negotiations where we will have the opportunity to embed and resource restorative culture into our CBA. And we appreciate that we now have a more receptive and collaborative superintendent and school board majority to support this work finally becoming a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, SEIU. Okay, I saw folks standing, but I thought that was SEIU. TCS, Teamsters, UPE. Next item, 8.2, District Advisory Committees. First up, we have Student Advisory Council. Okay, Community Advisory Committee, CAC. DLAC, District English Language Learners, Local Control, LCAP, Black African American Advisory Board, BAAB, Mr. Gladney. So I would say before I call you up here, Mr. Gladney, I just want to say a couple things. So I wanted to address the request that was made by Mr. Gladney at our last meeting. At that meeting, we were committed to putting an item on the agenda within our first 2 meetings of the school year to allow the board to have a robust discussion and give direction on items raised by BAAB in their May 16 presentation and requested call to action. As a reminder, that action plan specifically included recommendations for a staff toolkit, implementation of African American Studies courses, the creation of safe space for Black families and students, and the creation of a subcommittee. There will be a separate presentation and action item on our September 5 agenda, which is our next board meeting. We look forward to continuing to engage and partner with BAAB and to provide meaningful feedback and direction in response to their requests. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Board Member Phillips. Just a couple points of clarification. First, the 4 opportunities that we presented really were the equivalent of, if we were to use the analogy of a child learning to read, right? we wouldn't give them a whole book. We give them phonics, we give them, sight words, decodables to make it really approachable. And the work that we're doing is all centered around the 13 recommendations, which are actually adopted by your body on May 16th of 2019 with the goal of implementation in 2020. So when we revisited that this year on May 16th of 2024, it really was to reinvigorate conversation around the implementation of those recommendations, but doing it in a more approachable way because we as a system don't have the expertise or history of implementing those things. We've seen that with some of the presentations tonight. So those 4 opportunities really are a simple way to approach the 13 recommendations, and we hope to obviously continue to work with you guys to do so. Through the public comment that's been uplifted tonight, sort of like the tone that this room has taken in the past few months, we know that the time is now, as Board Member Babbitt from Berkeley said, whether it's around African American Studies curriculum, really fixing our suspensions and expulsions, all the components of our system that contribute to inequities and historical failure on behalf of Black children. We have the opportunity right now, we have the collective will to implement that. What we've been doing as an organization, although it typically is our hiatus over the summer, we have been working. Last Friday, we met with Dr. Luke Wood of Sacramento State, and we recognize that we don't, again, have the expertise internally as a system, so it's important to look outside to other partners, especially in our local footprint, that are doing things that are brave, that are innovative, and what Sac State is doing right now really should and could be a model for what we should do internally here in Sac City Unified. I just want to highlight some of the recommendations just to reintroduce them into the space. Some of the things we're working on and discussing at Sac State, again, academic achievement recommendation number 2, is to implement research-based intervention and acceleration strategies to close persistent learning gaps, provide school to college and school to career experiences utilizing community stakeholders, for example, career training, university shadowing, mentoring, and internships. Then we also have some culture and climate recommendations, again, which were reinforced with some of the conversation tonight, to provide professional development addressing inequitable disciplinary practices and mandate 100% faculty and staff attendance, and to adopt and implement curriculum that includes and reflects Black African American experience. Again, that was adopted by this board in 2019 with an implementation goal of 2020. So I hope that the urgency really heightens and we speak truth into our words with our actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gladney. Next up, Community Schools Advisory Committee, CAC.
Hi, good evening, Board President Phillips and board members. I am Shanna Just. I was the 2023-24 co-chair of the CSAC, and this is Ian Moore. He's the 24-25 co-chair for CSAC. So we just have a quick update. So because we really haven't had any meetings since May. We are meeting now once a month, the fourth Wednesday of the month. So our next meeting will be August 28th. Just some updates. Of the 18 community schools, 16 have hired their community school specialists, and their first official day is our first official day, which is next Wednesday. But we're trying to hit the ground running, and so one of the things, there was a team of us, 4 of us, including the district's community schools specialist, Sarah Lynn Bienvenue, who attended the CTA Community Schools Summer Institute. And we worked together to kind of craft a plan to move forward and try to hit the ground running as much as possible, since we're 2 years behind, right? So we're trying to get caught up. So one of the things we talked about doing is trying to meet the parents where they're at. And we know that for elementary schools, back to school night is the event that parents mostly attend. Not so much at high schools, they don't really attend that, right? But one of the things they do with high schools, we get a really high turnout for freshman orientation. And so freshman orientation obviously was before school started. So we crafted over the summer 5 basic questions just to get started, parents, and gather some initial data so we can craft our needs and assets assessment for the rest of the year to moving forward. So at Burbank, we are doing that. We have one of the parent sessions. The parents have a rotation of sessions that they attend during freshman orientation, and we have one of the sessions is a community school session where they're going to get to meet our community school specialists, get to learn something about it, and then have a QR code to complete that brief survey. And we completed that. We have that brief survey in 3 different languages, English, Spanish, and Hmong, and little QR codes so they can take the flyer with them if they can't complete it right then. And hopefully we start to get some initial data. The other thing we have planned is, since the community schools are basically in a feeder school structure, that we're trying to get the community school specialists to work together in gathering the data for the needs and assets assessment. And so that way we're not duplicating, and that way parents aren't receiving multiple asks, right? They're not having 3 different schools ask them to complete a needs and assets assessment. That we coordinate, and even if you have students at 3 different community schools, you only get asked one time. And that data gets shared, and it's cooperative. So it's a truly cooperative structure is what we're trying to work forward. Do you want to say anything last quick? Or no, we're good? All right, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Last up, American Indian Education Program Parent Committee. Alrighty. Moving on to item 9.1, Summer Matters 2024. This is an information only item, but y'all can have the floor.
Okay, good evening, board members, Superintendent Allen. My name is Neng Her. I am the Director of Summer School and Extended Learning. Tonight, the summer learning team right behind me here and we are super excited to share and highlight events from our Summer Matters program. It's not moving. There we go. Okay. Here are our core values and guiding principles that we use to guide the work that we do in expanded learning. And here's a reminder of our Summer Matters goals.
Good evening and a very happy 24-25 school year. During summer 2024, we had 50 plus sites open, and we started summer with 7,600 plus students in our Summer Matters program. This summer was our biggest summer as far as students and staff are concerned. Thank you.
For extended school year, we had the pleasure of hosting our extended school year at 5 different sites. We had the 3 elementary, as you can see there, as well as the 1 middle school and the high school. We had a total of about 513 students that actually participated amongst those 5 campuses. And then as far as staffing goes, it was the 290 that encompassed both the classified, certificated, and the management, not including, we did also have some vendors that also supported us as fillers when we weren't able to fill some of the positions in some of those classrooms. And then we also had our wonderful transportation department that worked so hard and made sure that all of our students were arriving on time for extended school year.
So here in this slide are highlights from Summer Matters. I want to take this time to thank our nutrition department. They worked really hard this summer. They distributed over 116,000 breakfast and lunch meals this summer. In addition, I want to thank our teachers and support staff. We were able to provide academic intervention at our summer school sites. And this summer, high school students completed 2,500 credit recovery courses. At this time, I'm going to hand this over to our youth development team to share some of the amazing enrichment opportunities provided to our students.
Good evening. We're so excited to share that this school year we were able to go to about 200 different field trips across the 5 weeks that we had. About 1,750 students were served weekly. We also piloted about 3 different partnerships with the city of Sacramento and various organizations to provide field trips to our K-3 learners on sites as well, for those who wouldn't be able to leave. We were able to go out to San Francisco for 3 consecutive weeks and also to Vallejo, California for 6 Flags. And it reported back to us many of our students it was their first time in San Francisco. So seeing the light in their eyes as they were able to experience something new through STEM and STEAM education was amazing. And we're hoping to extend this opportunity again to the years ahead.
I have the pleasure of presenting about our Summer Ambassador Program. Pre-COVID, our Summer Ambassador Program consisted of 30 high school students hired to support our high school sites through a cross-age mentoring model. But now we have grown. Now we serve over 200 students annually, and this summer we hired, we trained, and we placed 113 ambassadors across our Summer Matters sites to serve as cross-age mentors. Our goals are to provide them the work experience opportunities, 2, to give them professional development so they can enhance their 21st transferable skill sets, and then 3, to foster their leadership and to create change makers in our community to further push our community ahead. All this while supporting the K through 6th graders and to develop a direct pipeline of talent into educational occupations such as expanded learning. Our current summer ambassadors have been tasked with our summer media project, and at this point, I do want to ask everybody to follow us on Instagram at Sac City Ambassadors. If you see, we have tons of documentation, and through this time, our ambassadors got to experience and learn how to capture data, and then communicate that data to the community.
So our student ambassadors, as part of their social media project, posted in total 78 video reels, really capturing the experiences of both students, staff, as well as their own experience as ambassadors. So just to piggyback off David, please follow us. You'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, that's a screenshot of our page. We have 175 followers, and we'd like to continue to grow, so please follow. And I encourage y'all to really look at the work that the students were able to post. They were really creative, and they really put their heart into it, so please take a look at the dynamic work of our ambassadors. They also documented their work through newsletters where they were able to highlight just their day-to-day tasks, the field trips that they participated in, as well as the staff that they worked alongside. And so on the left-hand side, you'll see a sample of one of those newsletters. We're always happy to share those out with y'all if you'd like to see a copy of it, so please just let us know. But I actually now would like to invite our Summer Matters staff, including our ESY staff, to share a little bit about their experiences, beginning with one of our dynamic youth ambassadors.
Hi, not trying to be biased, but you guys should scroll down until you see a Peppa Pig one. That one's the best one. But I'll start. My name is Samaya. Over the summer, I worked as an ambassador at Golden Empire Elementary School. Throughout the 5 weeks working there, I had the opportunity to work closely with an amazing group of kids and truly wonderful coworkers. Every moment spent with them was amazing. The bond we built over the short time is something I am really grateful for. This made working fun and exciting. One of the highlights of my summer was our field trips, and having the water days was the best. There was the moment where I got to see the kids excited and having fun, Also working together, making videos for the ambassador Instagram page with my coworkers was a memorable moment, which, by the way, you guys should check out again. Thank you. Have a good night.
Hi, Board Member Allen, board members, families of SUSD. I am Assistant Principal at Rosemont High School, Katie Hensley, and I got to, while I'm a proud Wolverine all year round, I got to be summer school principal this year. Rosemont, as you know, is in a funny space geographically. We are not quite Sacramento and we're not quite Rancho Cordova. And it creates some unique challenges for our students at times and can isolate our students from other programs that are happening. The SCUSD Summer Matters programs gave invaluable opportunities for our students to continue academic growth and shrink their learning gaps. This summer at Rosemont, we hosted about 600 students on campus over 5 weeks. Students completed graduation requirements. They became A through G ready. They lessened their math anxieties. They became ambassadors of our school program. We hosted our neighboring middle school program on campus as well, a bridge program for incoming freshmen, a SCOE-sponsored work readiness program, Friday night open gym sessions, and a credit recovery option. Not to mention all of the services that Nutrition Staff Services always offers by feeding students all year long, or all summer long. In total, we had 6 students complete their graduation requirements and become graduates. We had 320 students complete online credit recovery coursework to now be graduation ready. 200 students attended our open gym sessions and had a safe space to be on Friday nights. 30 students completed the SCOE program and earned $1,000 each. 20 students finished our bridge program as incoming freshmen. So it was a really big win all around, and we have a blueprint for next year's summer success. I'd like to end by thanking Manpreet and the youth development team, as well as Nang, who oversees summer engagement, and all of the district staff that supported this, including the Rosemont staff and teachers, so that we can do more for our students.
Good evening, Lisa Allen and board. My name is Belinda Kirk. I'm one of the assistant principals at Luther Burbank High School, and I had the opportunity to work at John Morris Therapeutic Center. I do this assignment. This is my second year of doing this assignment because I do believe at the secondary level it is important for us to understand the primary stages. And so, again, working at John Morris, where I primarily focused working with our students who are pre-K, students with autism, nonverbal students. It was a pleasure, it was an honor, it was a gift, because what I've recognized is that it is so instrumental in our district to have leaders like Ning, like Dr. Hernandez, like the many individuals that I have the opportunity to work with within the special ed department, to recognize that our students with challenges, with disabilities is critical to our work, especially when they hit that secondary level. I want to say a huge kudos. I want to recognize, for me in particular, some of the agencies that I have the opportunity to work with, but more importantly, some of our BISs, our BCBAs, who are so instrumental to the work that I do at the secondary, and recognize how instrumental it is at the primary stages. And so, again, I don't have a script, but I do want us to recognize moving forward in this district that the primary stages is so critical, and I think it's important that we continue to invest. It is, I know, a huge investment, but I'm telling you, when they hit that secondary level and they are graduating with skills necessary to go beyond and seek post-secondary, it is truly a blessing and an honor. So again, I thank you, Dr. Hernandez. I thank you, the special ed department. I thank you, Ms. Ning, for just taking on a huge monumental role with, at least for me, the ESY program. Thank you.
Hi, board. I am Heather Pitt. I am a special educator through the school year, but I had the opportunity to be one of the summer program specialists for 3 different sites. It was an awesome opportunity. I absolutely learned a lot in that position, and also learning how much support a lot of our parents need as well, in the sense of services that can be delivered in a way that is not typical for their students to receive. And it was just an awesome opportunity to get feedback from them in how they would like their support and how to do that, and how the administration team provided that willingness to accept their responses as well.
Hi, board. I'm a special education teacher during the school year. During the summer, I got to be a training specialist, and I had a blast. It was so much fun. I admired just how the whole team worked together, how our agency aides work together, how our teachers work together. And the thing that I love about this summer is how everybody has this growth mindset. You know, we're there because we want to be there. And I love it because you have teachers who are teaching high school that are rocking little baby dolls in the preschool class, and you have kindergarten teachers that are with the high schoolers, and you have these amazing teachers and these amazing aides who are stepping out of their comfort zone to teach and to make our students grow, and the students responded, and the students had a great time. You know, they were learning, but they were having fun, and I think that there's such value in the importance of having this curriculum. All these teachers were teaching with the same curriculum that the students use during the regular school year. And so it was great to have them all trained and on the same page, and it was a beautiful, beautiful summer. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Allen and board members. My name is Africa Fullove, and I serve as the principal of John Sloat Elementary School. And I also had the honor to serve as summer school principal for our Summer Matters programming. And I will echo a lot of what you've already heard. There's a great opportunity to do collaboration across departments. There's a lot of support, willingness to show up and be there for our students, staff, and communities. And one thing I want to highlight is the rich experiences that were provided with our weekly field trips. It was something that the students were able to look forward to and very enriching. So I look forward to seeing more of that in summers to come.
If it's okay, we have to play this video. It's only 2 minutes, and it's going to take you to summer 2024. Go.
Okay. Thank you. Can I just have the Youth Development Services staff stand? Can we just take one quick second and acknowledge the hard work? This is year 14 for these folks, and they hit it out of the park every year.
Okay, just going to move into, thank you, public comment. Do we have any public comments? Yeah, I don't, oh, he's checking something. Public comment, sir?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see him. All right, so we're just going to open this up for board discussion. Tonight, I think I'm going to try and adhere to some of our time, so was a roughly 10-minute discussion. So I'm waiting for names to pop up, and they popped up quick. So first up, Member Jean.
I'm just so excited that we got to start our brand new school year with such an amazing report. So thank you to everybody who did phenomenal work, gave our students incredible experiences. We all know that learning is better when it's fun and when you get to get outside and meet new people and have new amazing experiences. So just thank you so much for making that happen for our kiddos and ourselves.
Thank you. Member Kayada.
All right. The Instagram now has 177 followers. Member Rhodes and myself. Oh, I got to refresh.
Y'all really touching your phones up here? Okay.
That's what we're doing on our phone right now. I was watching the Peppa Pig. I'm just following direction, all right?
Okay.
So I really wanted to uplift the focus on field trips. I really want to be a school district that invests in this, that offers kids the opportunity to see something outside of their neighborhood. I guess I just have a couple questions about it. So I will preface this by saying that at the orientation for my kids' Summer Matters, when they said, look at all these great field trips, it's not available to you who are in K through 3. It was kind of disappointing. So what are the reasons that we were only offering most of these field trips to the older kids? And is there something we can do to address that for next summer?
The biggest reason is not having enough adults, because the ratio in K through 3rd is 4:1. And so in order to take 20 kids, we at least need to have 5 adults. So that was the biggest reason, and that's why we had partnerships with the Sacramento Zoo and Mosaic to come to the site so little kids can have fun too. But I understand it is disappointing, and I have heard from many parents and students and teachers that how come young kids were not able to go. So to answer your question, not having enough adults.
Okay, and I understand that's really challenging to get that many adults, especially given that it's really hard to get parent volunteers in particular when the whole program itself is only a couple of weeks, really. Just kind of, something people have talked to me about and, we've seen in my family. So just kind of, if there's a way to look at it, just something for the future. The other thing is trying to replicate the focus on field trips as a form of enrichment during the school year. So I don't know exactly what our funding source is for Summer Matters versus during the year, but there's anything we can do, and maybe this isn't really your area, but to take what you've been able to do for the Summer Matters and to try to get it into the regular school year. And maybe you don't have an answer, I think that's something that I would like to explore. I know there's way too many kids in our district who maybe have been on one field trip. And I just really want to make sure that kids, no matter what school they're in, no matter what neighborhood they're in, this is something that happens, that when they look back at their elementary school, their middle school, their high school, they're on field trips. Like that's something that is part of their education here in Sacramento. But otherwise, thank you, and that was a great presentation. And Summer Matters, I've heard great things. Everyone is really excited, so great work to the team. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pritchett?
Thank you. I just wanted to congratulate you on those numbers. That was just remarkable, like how many kids were welcomed on our campus this summer. It is a testament to all of your hard work. So thank you for the work that you do. I have one question for you. What is the requirement for a kid to be enrolled in the Summer Matters? Is it that they have to live within the boundaries, or do they have to be a student the prior year within the regular school year?
A requirement is they have to be the current students of SCUSD. So it was this program 2024 summer was for current TK. When I say current, I mean 23-24 school year, current TK through current 12th graders. So if students are not enrolled in Sac City, even if parents sometimes say, oh, my child is going to come to Sac City in September, no, we cannot.
No. I'd like to see how we can make that change. And the reason being is that there's a lot of students in our area that go often to other districts, neighboring districts, right, that live right in our communities. And I think that with this type of program, it could really be the catalyst to like get them to stay in our district of like, look at all the amazing things that you're doing, right? And to be able to come back to us. So I'd like to see maybe have future conversations, maybe we can have like working with our neighborhood leaders or neighborhood associations. They are the ones that can help us get the word out to those families, right? So.
Thank you for that comment. Another reason why we are enrolling current students, a lot of the programs that we utilize, so like our academic online programs, if the student's not in the system, they will not be able to access it.
Yeah, student IDs.
Let's explore that option though. Let's not close the door. Let's explore that option. I want to get them back. I want them to stay. We're doing great things. Okay?
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Mr. Singh?
I know there's been a lot of just congrats, so I just want to say congrats. It was really great presentation. I recall my trips to the Exploratorium in a yellow school bus. You guys took public transportation for a lot of it, which was great. I also want to just mention that it's just great to utilize our local spaces. I remember a parent was in here at the end of last year talking about getting our kids to go to the museums. And actually, the reason they moved here to Sacramento, or one of the reasons they're here, is because we have access to museums and other spaces. So it's nice to see those other spaces like the SMUD Museum and the other places that you all went to, which is just really wonderful. And on a slightly less serious note, I want to know the name of the dog that was up here, because dogs need to be introduced first. And also, I need a shirt, and that's it. I want a bright shirt.
Thank you. Ms. Chu Griffith?
I just want to thank you all for the work you're doing. It's really important to understand that nutritional, developmental, educational, cognitive needs don't stop when the school year ends. And I'm really glad that we can continue to provide support to our students even during the summer. Specifically, I want to shout out the Youth Ambassador Program. All of my friends who have participated in it have really enjoyed it. They get experience, they get some money, and then also our programs get more staffing from these students. And I really hope that we can continue to expand this program in future summers and also during school years. So thank you all.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes?
Okay, so I'll keep it brief. And, you know, I like to try to go by the 5 Bs. Keep it brief, brother, please keep it brief. So, internship partnerships, what you guys done, the ambassador work is beautiful. We like to see some of that work on this side of the dais. I know that we've talked about it before, but I would love to bring that back. And then your open gym work, that is beautiful that you guys were able to do that at Rosemont, and that should be a real model throughout the district. But other than that, thank you guys so much. This is beautiful.
Awesome sauce. I don't have anything to say other than summer school is sometimes a lifesaver for students, and to have a program like this where you feel enveloped in everything. I went to summer school until he told me I couldn't go anymore, because it was that important to me. So I appreciate the work that you guys are all doing. So we are moving on. This was an information item, and I appreciate everything that you guys have done. I'm gonna come to summer school next year. We are moving on to item 10.0. These are public hearings. So item 10.1 is our first public hearing for Growth Public Schools. Ms. Goldman?
Hello, everybody. Tonight you get to hear me say the same thing 3 times. So tonight, this is the initial public hearing for the charter renewal of Growth Public Schools On June 27th, Growth Public Schools submitted a petition to renew its charter. It is requesting to renew the term of its charter, which expires on June 30th, 2025. Today's public hearing is the first public hearing on the Growth Public Schools renewal petition as required by Education Code. The purpose of the public hearing is to consider the support for the charter petition from the district's teachers, other employees, and parents. Basically, tonight is about hearing from the community. Staff are currently reviewing the submitted petition. Following the review of that petition and this public hearing, the governing board, that is you all, will either grant or deny the charter within 90 days of the receipt of the petition. That decision is scheduled to occur at the September 5th board meeting. The governing board of the school district shall publish all staff recommendations, including the recommended findings, at least 15 days before the public hearing. So that's the work that I will do and provide to you all no later than August 21st. The rest of this time is for the school leader to present with public comment and board discussion to follow. So please allow me to introduce Adria Johnson, Executive Director of Growth Public Schools.
That's my school. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, board. I am Adria Johnson. I'm the very, very proud Executive Director of Growth Public School. I'm gonna get through this. I am. So our mission at GPS's mission is to be a diverse, connected, learner-driven community that prepares students emotionally, socially, and academically to blaze their own paths in a changing world. So our educational philosophy centers around the belief that rigorous academics and college prep are just one part of a balanced education. And at GPS, we aim to provide a strong balance of rigorous academics and personal development through social emotional learning. At GPS, we believe that learning best occurs when students have authentic, rigorous learning opportunities that are rooted in real-world hands-on experiences and allow them to be creative, open-minded, and find joy in their learning. We believe that learning best occurs when the learning environment is safe, supportive, and that teachers understand and embrace each student's differences and empower them to succeed in spite of challenges. And we believe that students should not be passive recipients of information, but rather should be asked to think for themselves and take responsibility for their actions and learning. All right, so we are located at 9320 Tech Center Drive, right in the heart of the Rosemont community. If you've ever been on 50 and you see those black glass buildings, we're one of those. All right. Diverse student population. So we serve a diverse student population, as you can see by the chart shown here. This diversity is by design. We aim to mirror the demographics of Sacramento and the community that we serve. We serve students of varying backgrounds and are inclusive of those with a wide range of abilities, including those with special education needs and those who are English language learners. Over the course of our term, we have increased the percentage of students that we serve within the Hispanic subgroup, the English learner subgroup, and students with disabilities. Two key program elements of ours is project-based learning and foundational skills. So project-based learning, or PBL, is inquiry based around the central question, and it results in students engaging in that authentic learning experience that's relevant to them and results in a product. This is where students begin to explore those complex skills, critical thinking, problem solving, etc. And then the next key element is foundational skills, and that's focused on their reading, writing, and math competency, and just developing those foundational skills to support that higher learning in the project-based learning. Our teachers at GPS receive extensive PD and coaching throughout the year to support these program elements. That support looks like we have a full-time instructional coach. We average around 30 days of PD every year. Teachers receive weekly observations and feedback, as well as grade level or department team meetings focused on data. As a result of one of our partnerships, we have been implementing new curriculum, and you can see expeditionary learning education, or EL education, and illustrative mathematics, or IM. And on a recent survey, 100% of our teachers agreed with the statement that they understand how to use the curriculum. Social emotional learning is another key component of our program. We believe that SEL is critical to our school culture and learning, students' learning. We believe that students must not only have strong academic skills, but they must be fully developed human beings also. And so we believe this development best occurs in a caring culture that's rigorous, joyful, and fun, and that an explicit social emotional education can support this development in students. In April 2021, our school became the first elementary school in the nation to become a certified Powered by Compass school. Powered by Compass is the SEL program that we've adopted at GPS, and it's an approach to a comprehensive human development for students and adults. In order to earn this certification, we went through a very rigorous training program, and we consistently demonstrate exemplary performance in measures such as staff investment. We have 100% of our staff agree that the time we put into Compass is worth it, as well as exceptional trust in school leaders. The trust levels at our school are higher than 84% of schools across the country. Community satisfaction. So these are just some data points that I'd like to share. We annually survey our school community as well to get their gauge on culture, et cetera. These are just some data points to see. It is notable that 100% of our team enjoy working at GPS. Student academic growth. So I'd like to share just a few highlights from our recent student academic growth data. So AB 1505 states that charter schools can use verified data to show a year's worth of growth each year for renewal. And we are using the MAP assessment for this verified data, and we administer it 3 times a year, allowing students and families and teachers to have multiple opportunities to look at the data and then make real-time adjustments. And so, as you can see on the chart here, so in the 23-24 school year, our students met that threshold that's required to show a year worth of growth in reading, and we exceeded it in math. And then for students continuously enrolled in growth, we looked at a calendar year of growth. And again, the students met that target in reading and exceeded it in math. Before I close, I just wanted to share a final highlight and success for GPS. In this past school year, we successfully met the standard for each performance area within the district Sac City Unified's annual oversight report. This past year, we were able to engage in, my opinion, very meaningful and intentional support in partnership with the district. And as a result, we were able to successfully meet all of those performance areas. To me, in my experience this year, the oversight process was very helpful and supportive of our school. We received personalized attention based on what we needed. And that was something that I really appreciated and that I'm looking forward to continuing in the future years. So thank you for giving us the space in this meeting to present GPS to you all. Sorry I wasn't looking, I'm very nervous and I had to read my words. We are excited to continue to serve students and families with this high quality option in partnership with you all. We'll be back next month for a board vote where you will hopefully approve our renewal. And then, as always, you're more than welcome to come and visit our school and just see firsthand all the wonderful things that we're doing. And so now I know that there are some comments that are public comments to share. And then again, also happy to hear from you guys and any questions that you have.
Thank you. Did a good job. So in checking for public comment, how many do we have, sir, if we have any?
We have 7 for this topic.
Okay.
We begin with Mariah Hawath, followed by Raylyn McDaniel, and then Danica Williams.
Thank you. So just a time note, 2 minutes. And yeah, the floor is all yours.
Hello, my name's Mariah Hayworth. I am a founding teacher of Growth Public Schools and the current instructional coach. I'll never forget our first year at GPS. We had so many ideas and inspiration for where we wanted to take the school. While we're not in our first year anymore, I can say one thing with confidence. We've kept our passion for students at the heart of our work. Students at our school get to express themselves. One of the ways we've accomplished this is through project-based learning. In the early years, you could see projects such as create your own species and describe the habitat it would need to survive, and run a marketplace. Now, while we have adopted the EL education curriculum, you can still see projects such as create a frog adaptation trading card and create an emergency survival kit, and so many more. Every unit and final project is deeply embedded in the Common Core state standards while providing students the opportunity to express their individualism. We also celebrate our students by putting on different events throughout the year to reflect their own cultural backgrounds, from having a community ofrenda for Dia de los Muertos, to inviting our immigrant parents to share their experiences with our students, to having celebrations for Black History Month, AAPI Month, and Hispanic Heritage Month. We strive to make sure every student feels seen. Our student-centered work does not end there. We know that we have a responsibility to our most vulnerable students. 2 years ago, we began our reading intervention program for any student that just needed that little extra push. In fact, every one of our students that participated in the reading intervention program this year made growth in their reading, with over 95% of them at least making 1 year's worth of growth. I'm so proud of the work that our schools put in, particularly for our students. I know that if we are allowed to continue our work, we will keep putting students at the center of what we do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
We have Raylyn McDaniel next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raylyn McDaniel. I am the Student Support Services Coordinator at Growth Public School, and it's in my 6th year with the GPS family. So I just want to say that, as you know, GPS has 2 main goals: holistic student achievement and the positive school culture. Our executive director did an amazing job of showing to you all the impressive academic growth that our students are making. But what I'm here tonight is to share with you what really sets us apart. It's the GPS culture. I have been a special ed teacher for the past 12 years in different countries, different states, and it has been a tedious battle to actually advocate to have an environment that genuinely non-discriminatory for kids with disabilities. 2019, when at last I finally found a place when I no longer need to do the same battle. Because at GPS, it's incredible how students leave their classroom, for pullouts, return to their classroom, chin up, proud of who they are, proud of themselves, because they've never once felt that they're different. And I'm all about pushing for kids with disabilities. We also have a lot of, at GPS, we cultivate diversity. We celebrate diversity. We have so much programs. We have fully invested ELAC committee. Just being proud of being part of the GPS family. There's one word, sorry, the timer is stressing me out, but there's one word that I say a lot in this quick testament. It's family, because that's what GPS is to me. From our leaders, who really lead with their hearts, to the teachers who give everything that they got. Every morning when I open the door, I only say, I am home, I am with my family, and I can guarantee you all tonight, that's how most of our students feel when we enter GPS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Danica Williams, followed by Jania and Mariah Crawford, as well as Jeanette Rowe after that.
Good evening.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to say I'm impressed that you got my name right, because it gets chopped up pretty bad. But good evening. We're the Williams family, and we've been a part of Growth Public School since 2019, when our first son, Dominic, enrolled to begin his 2nd grade year. We were in search of an educational model that would accommodate with smaller classroom sizes for every student to be heard individually. We came from a charter school that promised to meet the child at their level of learning, only to see my son be bullied and classmates with no feeling of comfort from the staff. Growth Public has not only fulfilled its promise, but exceeded even our own expectations with classroom structure that mirrors its sense of community among the students, staff, and parents. A direct result of that smaller classroom sizes, we feel this allowed the teachers the ability to closely observe and recognize the struggles of our son was experiencing during his 3rd and 4th grade years, prompting the teacher and then Principal Johnson to invite our family to help create a plan to help Dominic with his classroom focus issues that was affecting his performance. This plan that helped moderately developed into further evaluation for an individualized education plan. The special education staff was exceptional with guiding us through what could have been a stressful process. The way they were completely transparent, ensuring our understanding of every step along the way, from the assessments to the ending of results for our son Dominic, successfully granted the IEP. We have seen a dramatic change in such a short span. With the assistance from the outstanding staff, our son is now meeting his initial standards set in place from the plan and has almost immediately begun to grow both academically and socially. There is no wonder why our youngest son, Diesel, has joined the GPS education system in 2022 as a TK student. Though he does not require any special needs, he was embraced with the same feeling of community as his big brother, which is why we are pushing for a chance for a very bright future to flourish while continuing his education at Growth Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Janiyah and Mariah Crawford, followed by Jeanette Rowe.
We move on.
Jeanette Rowe would be next, followed by Sat Singh, and then Laura Kerr.
Also a little nervous. Here we go. So, good evening. My name is Jeanette Rowe, and I've had the pleasure and privilege of serving as GPS's Dean of Culture for the past 3 years. As you all know, our school motto is, "We do school differently." And I believe that remains true when discussing GPS's student culture. Specifically, we place a heavy emphasis on social emotional development, learning, and restorative practices. In doing so, we encourage students to see their uniqueness as an asset, to speak from their heart while using their head, and to take accountability for their actions. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that none of this would be possible without our phenomenal staff. I must say, I think that one thing that distinguishes GPS's staff is our collective willingness to model what we expect from our students and respond in culturally equitable ways. For instance, there's no such thing as a bad kid. They're activated and they need love. In addition, there is a huge effort to employ school-wide systems of rewards that elevate positive behavior and community building. For instance, we have something at our school called heroic cards. Essentially, each teacher receives a set of heroic cards, and any teacher can reward any student in any grade a heroic card. They're in a line with our pillars, and I know I'm running out of time, so I'll spare you guys. We also host a series of cultural festivals in which families are encouraged to share various components of their culture with GPS students and staff. Some other positive interventions and community builders include writing club, yearbook, band, art fairs, SEL celebrations, town halls, movie nights, game days, and we'll also be introducing leadership to our middle school students. At the end of the day, I could stand up here for hours and talk about why GPS is vital, but simply put, GPS is in fact an integral part of many students' lives and is affecting change in innovative ways daily. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to share my sentiments. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Floor is all yours.
Honorable board members, Superintendent Allen, good evening. My name is Sat Singh, and I'm the Managing Director of Advocacy for CCSA. The California Charter School Association is a statewide, nonprofit advocacy organization that supports high-quality charter schools so that all children have access to a great public education. Our organization advocates for schools that demonstrate the commitment and the capacity to operate academically successful schools. We know that Growth Public Schools is well prepared to operate a high-quality public school that is uniquely designed to serve the interests of the Sacramento community. As a CCSA member partner, Growth Public Schools has access to CCSA's renewal support and resources to ensure compliance with renewal standards. Further, CCSA has worked with Growth Public Schools to ensure the school fully understands their performance data and support a successful next term. CCSA firmly believes that as a middle track program, GPS fully meets all the legal requirements for renewal. We value your hard work and understand the challenges that this board and Superintendent Allen are trying to overcome. We know oftentimes the road ahead is not easy. However, as you do the hard work to continue to improve SCUSD, the interest of students and parents should always be on the forefront of any decision making. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening. Floor is all yours.
Hi, thank you. My name is Laura Kerr. I'm with the Charter Schools Development Center. I sent you an email with letters of support for each of these schools that include evidence for why both this school and the other three you will hear from tonight meet the academic criteria for renewal. So excited to say that. I also want to talk about the timeline and commend the district for working collaborative with the charter schools late last year to establish a timeline for charter renewal. And just to answer that question, why? Why now? We definitely want to provide predictability for students, for teachers, for families. And charter schools do have due process rights in case something goes awry and we need to go to the county or to the state. So that's why we're here, and we hope everything goes well and that it works out. And thank you.
Thank you.
No more speakers on this topic.
All righty. So we're going to move on to board discussion. Ms. Pritchett?
Thank you, President Phillips. I just want to say thank you for being here tonight as the board member who represents the Rosemont community, Area 3. There is always chatter about your school site, and it's always exceptional and positive. And so I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. I'm a firm believer that a traditional setting is always not the place for our students, right? As we heard from the Williams family, correct? Is that, okay, good, I got that right. And it is, just from what I hear, you guys are doing just fantastic work. So the only question I had for you is, what is your enrollment size now? Because I've been on this board since you guys have opened, and I know you have grown. So what is it now?
So this year we are fully grown out, TK through 8. This is our first year with 8th graders, and our enrollment is projected to be around 318 this year.
Fantastic. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kayada?
So I haven't been able to come out and visit your school site yet, so this comment hopefully is probably obvious to everyone who goes there, but it doesn't look like you have any outdoor space at your school. What do kids do for like recess, PE?
Mm-hmm. We've been very creative with that office park. So we do have a play area. Our building was National University, and so there was like a little cafe there, and there was a patio out back. And so we've taken that area and turned it into a play. We call it a play area. It's not a playground because it's not like the traditional slide and swings. Our philosophy has always been we want the kids to go out there and decide how to play and not have the playground tell them what to do. And so we are working on upgrade. We actually just completed, like, I want to say phase 2 of upgrading it, and phase 3 to come with more like equipment and materials. But yes, so that's what we do for play, recess, et cetera. And PE, we have access to the parking lots. And so we use the parking lot for PE. And as well as we have a big room upstairs for when it's inclement weather. It's kind of empty and big, and so the kids can go up there and do scaled down PE activities, but that's how we use it.
And thank you. Anything else for my? Oh, and right, I said it was like a magic wand, Miss Jean.
Thank you for your presentation and all of this information. My question is kind of for Amanda. I started looking at the charter school petition renewal, found the link and was looking at it, and then my computer started dying. Is there anything on there that you'd recommend that we check out in the charter agreement or budget, things that we would want to draw our attention to?
So if there is anything that isn't right, that'll be documented in the report that's coming in a couple weeks. I have not every line so far, but at this point, we haven't found any concerns in
Things that you're you want us to put our eyes on. Awesome. And then question for you. What are some of the key challenges you are facing, and how are you planning to approach those challenges, overcome them?
Yeah. Enrollment is always a challenge. I know that there are children, but where are they? So in our charter, we have our enrollment capped at 350, and we're, trying to get there, but it's a slow process. So I would say enrollment is one. And then chronic absenteeism is something that, many schools face. We're no different, although we have seen a steady decline in our absenteeism rates, but just ensuring that our kids are there daily, all day, so that they can get the experience that we are wanting to provide for them. Those are two that I can think of off the top.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Rhodes.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I'll keep mine to one question only. My bigger one is, how do you involve parents, students, and the broader community in decision-making process at your school site?
That is something that we are growing in. And so I am founding principal. We now have a acting principal. She's unfortunately sick this evening, so she couldn't be here. But Dr. Abbott is going into her second year of principal at GPS, and one of her focuses and goals this year is to provide more input opportunities for families to just kind of come in, share what they think, any ideas that they have. We do annually survey our families, but surveys can kind of be a dud at times, and so we wanted to be creative about more intentional, funner, not a word, ways to engage our families and get their input.
Yeah, I think that, and for here, we have the LCAP process and other committee processes. I would love to see in charter schools that they have some type of mechanism to have real engagement from the stakeholders that we're trying to impact.
Yeah.
Right? And so as you guys grow into that, that's something that I would be looking for.
So let me be clear. We definitely have engagement processes for those things.
Okay.
I'm thinking more broader, not those specific, we have to do them, but
Yeah.
things that we just because we want their input, not because we have to have it for a certain
Yeah.
legal compliant thing.
Yes, this and, right? Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Chu Griffith?
Thank you for your presentation and all the public comments. It's really great to hear that there's a welcoming and inclusive environment for special ed. I was just curious as if there's any specific policies, practices, protocols that you guys have in place to create this inclusive environment for special ed?
I mean, other than all kids are welcome and you come with what you have and we're going to figure it out. I mean, that's just our philosophy, we're open enrollment school, so, I don't know if that's a good answer, but that's what we do.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. It's a real answer. Let me think if I got everybody. Anything else from my fellow colleagues? No? Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for your comments. The board anticipates a decision on the submitted charter petition will be scheduled for its meeting September 5, 2024. And as a reminder, public comments can be submitted in writing prior to the meeting for the board's consideration. But I know you guys like to come talk to us personally, which is fantastic. Sometimes we have a lot of people, and if we have to get compacted, I'd love to see everything written so we can get everything you guys want to share. So far, it's gone really well. So I appreciate this was an information item, and we will be moving on. Thank you so much, Grove.
Thank you.
Y'all are so cute. Item 10.2, this is also an information item, it's public hearing for St. Hope Public School, PS7. I think I got it. Okay.
Yeah, please. Is that Lisa? Yeah, come on up. Are they gonna just... I just stand here. I trust these things trying to make me nervous.
All right, so we are ready to begin item 10.2, public hearing, St. Hope Public School 7. Ms. Goldman?
All right. Oops. Yep. Hi, everybody. All right. So second reading. So tonight we are here for the initial public hearing to consider the support for the renewal of St. Hope Public School 7. On June 28th, St. Hope Public School 7 submitted a petition to renew its charter. It is requesting to renew the term of its charter, which expires on June 2025. Today's public hearing is the first public hearing on the St. Hope Public School 7 charter renewal petition as required by Ed Code. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider the support for the charter petition from the district's teachers, other employees, and parents. So again, tonight is about listening, asking questions. We get to decision point later on. Staff are currently reviewing their submitted petition. Following the review of the petition and this public hearing, the governing board of the school district shall either grant or deny the charter within 90 days of the receipt of the petition. That decision is scheduled to occur at the September 19th, 2024 board meeting. The governing board of the school district shall publish all staff recommendations, including the recommended findings, at least 15 days before the public hearing, at which the governing board of the school district will either grant or deny the charter. Staff is scheduled to publish this report by September 4th, 2024. At this point, I'm going to hand the reins over to Superintendent Lisa Ruda and Board Chairperson Cassandra Jennings, and I think a handful of others.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Phillips and members of the board. My name is Cassandra Jennings, and I am the chairperson of the Board of Directors of St. Hope Public Schools. I am joined by our Superintendent Lisa Ruda, as well as Christine Meyer, our principal of PS7 Middle School, and Alicia Ferguson Parson, our Director of Operations, who in a prior role served as the principal of PS7 Elementary School. PS7 opened its doors over 20 years ago, and since then, we have been serving scholars who live predominantly in Oak Park in South Sacramento. We are proud of our scholars' academic achievement and are thrilled that we now have a modernized elementary school campus that our students and staff deserve. Today was day 2 of the PS7 elementary students being in their new classrooms. One of the unique hallmarks of PS7 is that our scholars get more time. SHPS's 5 pillars of excellence include a commitment of more time in the classroom to acquire academic knowledge and skills. Our scholars who start at PS7 in TK and attend through the completion of 8th grade will have received the equivalent of almost 3 additional years of school in the instructional minutes over their 10 years at PS7.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Ruda, and I'm the superintendent of St. Hope Public Schools. We truly believe that all of our scholars have the ability to achieve great things. The student body at PS7 reflects the community we serve, and we seek to serve the same population as we request an extension of our current charter. As you'll see on the slide behind you, is represented by the red bar. Across the district, county, and state, minority and socioeconomically disadvantaged students often have been denied the choice of high-quality public education, and as a result, they've struggled to achieve at high levels. We've raised the bar with most of our students being from in a group that's identified as disadvantaged, whether it's because of the skin that they wear or their family's economic situations. To talk a bit about our academic results, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Kristen Meyer, who has been the principal of St. Hope Elementary for the past 3 years and has been part of the St. Hope team for nearly 9 years now. Kristen?
All righty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kristen Meyer, and I'm the principal of PS7 Middle School. I'm so excited to be with you today to celebrate our record of success from the last few years. Taking a look at the data on this slide that's behind you, you can see that our scholars have consistently achieved ELA CASP assessment scores that outperform the district and the state. This is the most apparent in our first table you see here, where our scores are compared to the district. As you can see, in our 4 out of 5 years listed, all scholars performed above the district averages, and in the most recent year, we still fulfilled our mission of providing a strong educational option for Black and Brown scholars. All right, on our next slide, we have the same comparable data points just for our math data. As an administrator and previous math teacher, we know that math is definitely tough. But with that in mind, in 3 out of 5 years, our scholars continue to outperform the district. And every year, we once again met our mission of providing a strong educational option for our Black and Brown scholars. My last data slide includes information about what we provide for our underserved populations, specifically English learners and our scholars who are experiencing homelessness. The top graph shows the English Learner Progress Indicator, and this shows the percentage of English learners at PS7 making progress compared to the district and the state over the last 2 years. The bottom chart shows the performance of PS7 scholars experiencing homelessness on the ELA CASP exam in 22-23, also compared to the district and the state. Overall, I am so proud of our data that not only shows that PS7 meets the criteria for charter renewal, but that renewing our charter is also in the best interest of our students and families that we serve. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Alicia Ferguson Parsons. I am the current Director of Operations for St. Hope Public Schools, but prior to this role, I was the principal and administrator at PS7 Elementary School for 5 years. For the past 21 years, our students at PS7 Elementary School have walked into a school that was not representative of the power, the change, the growth, and the ability to achieve that we knew that our students had. Yesterday, that all changed. Our students were able to come to a campus that was brand new and enter into brand new classrooms. We were able to secure funding from the Charter Schools Facility Program to create and renovate our PS7 Elementary campus, which is located in South Oak Park. With this renovation and this modernization, we will have 31 brand new classrooms, a completely renovated administrative building, as well as multi-purpose room. And just for a fun fact about that, it did not have air conditioning before. It will have air conditioning now, which we are all very excited about. As well as new landscape, hardscape playgrounds, a field, and a brand new reimagined drop-off and pickup option that is no longer on Strawberry Lane and completely safe for our scholars and their families. This project is very similar to other projects and investments that SCUSD is currently doing in Oak Park, and we are so excited to be able to bring these changes and updates to an SCUSD property. There are many different factors that go into a student's success in school, but providing them with a modern, safe, secure, and a school that they can walk in and just be proud of is one of the most important. We are so proud of the hard work that PS7 has put in throughout the past 21 years, and also the awards and recognition that we have received. A couple of those we'd like to highlight tonight are being named a California Education Champion by the National Action Network, and then also being recognized by Stanford's Center for Research on Educational Outcomes for our efforts in closing the education gap, and then also providing our students with high quality education and opportunities beyond our doors. Finally, we know that in order to continue to grow, we must be creative, we must be innovative, and we must be open. because without those things, we will not be able to succeed. We will not be able to move forward. And we are committed to the success of our scholars, our families, and our community. Some of the ways that we are going to continue to move forward, as well as add additional things this year, are that we have already purchased social emotional curriculum for our scholars in TK through 8, as well as added those additional social emotional curriculum to our after-school program and our ELOP program. We've also added an additional staff member who's our mental health and wellness coordinator, who will be able to provide those tier 1 and tier 2 interventions to our students who may be experiencing homelessness, who may be experiencing challenges in the regular classroom that need those additional supports, and also to our families. We are committed to our full inclusion model that ensures that our students with disabilities are served in the general education environment 100% of the time. We are also going to continue to invest in curriculum. We have done so throughout our entire network this year, TK through 12. Finally, one of the things we want to ensure that we do is keep our staff and team members with us and give them opportunities to grow themselves. What do they want to achieve? So we are committed to our 21 professional development days that we have each and every year, and then also to bringing in external resources and guides and information for them to explore so that they can also grow themselves.
May I just briefly to conclude, thank you. One is thank you for your time this evening, but before I conclude, I do want to state on behalf of St. Hope Public Schools, both PS7 and Sac High, which you'll hear later from this evening, that we intend to fully respond to the concerns that were identified and sent to me in a letter dated July 26 from Superintendent Allen. Superintendent Allen has asked that we provide that response by August 26th. I commit to you tonight, you will have that response as well as a full assessment of the concerns that were identified and response so that you know exactly what is happening at our schools and then can move forward and make an informed decision relative to our charter renewal. I thank you for our time. I know we are over. I appreciate the indulgence for the extra minute, but just did want to underscore you'll have a full written response as requested by the 26th of this month from the superintendent on behalf of St. Paul Public Schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ruda. All right, we're going to move on to public comment. Sir, how many do we have?
We have 7 speakers signed up on this topic.
And 7 times 2 is 14.
They made it.
Wow,
Yes.
that means
Yes,
so
ma'am.
everyone gets 2 minutes. So
We'll begin with Nia Parker, followed by Aubrielle Arrington and Samira Guy.
And if you are able to please just head on to the middle aisle so that we can expedite this. Floor is yours.
Good morning. Good afternoon. We'd like to thank you for letting us speak today. Appreciate it. And my daughter, she just wants to just tell you how she likes really going to the school and everything. Let them know.
Good afternoon. I really like the school and I really like all my teachers and a lot of my family members go to the school and I really like how I really like the new school because there's a lot of space and there's a lot of room for people to have their own space.
Yes. Thank you.
And I would also like to speak as a parent and staff. I'm just so grateful that all St. Hope does for me and my family during the school year and the summertime. During the summer, St. Hope is hosting their first ever Inspire You Academy, free of cost for all scholars, and I really am thankful for that. It focuses on dancing, painting, swimming, cooking, music, arts and crafts, and my child really loved going there this summer, both of my daughters. And one of the other things I love about St. Hope Public Schools is the scholars have access to a wide range of learning opportunities beyond traditional classroom settings. St. Hope empowers students to become leaders at a school and in the community, which is so important for their character and development. And on top of providing excellent education, I'm grateful that St. Hope teachers and staff instill the importance of integrity, responsibility, and perseverance in our kids. This is essential for succeeding at school, work, and in life, and these lessons are even ingrained into the summer programs that St. Hope is putting on, and I'm just really thankful for St. Hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next speaker, Aubrielle Arrington, followed by Samira Guy.
Good evening. As mentioned, my name is Aubrielle Joy Arrington, and I'm a teaching assistant at PS7 Elementary. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And for those of us a part of the St. Hope family, we get the opportunity to be a part of that change each and every day. As educators, many of us strive to ensure that our students receive a quality education. But being an educator at St. Hope Public Schools means that my students are provided the necessary resources and supports that they need that are essential to their academic successes to and through college. A majority of the students we serve here at St. Hope are students of color, and we acknowledge that there is a significant gap between our students of color and their counterparts. Everyone at St. Hope Public Schools reflect on results. Students, teachers, staff, and families, because we are all invested in our scholars' academic successes. I'm proud of the work that I get to see and participate in every single day. The amount of drive and fire within the hearts of our scholarly community has already achieved so much. As stated earlier, a majority of our students are of color, but almost 96% of our students are socioeconomically disadvantaged or homeless. St. Hope, compared to the state and our local Sacramento City School District, has proven many times that we are capable of exceeding local and statewide test scores regardless of that demographic divide. St. Hope is a staple to the Oak Park community and will hopefully continue to serve the community and its surrounding members. Our students, staff, families, and community need St. Hope. At St. Hope Public Schools, we are the change. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, floor is all yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samira Guy, and I have been teaching at PS7 Middle School for the past 5 years. I'm here today asking you to renew our charter because I wholeheartedly believe in the value and impact of our program. At PS7, our teachers are incredibly dedicated. We know we have choices. There is a nationwide teacher shortage. We know we can teach anywhere, but we choose to teach here. Nearly 90% of our teachers and staff returned this year. This choice reflects our belief in the mission of our school. We choose St. Hope because we believe in the mission, we believe in our students, and we want to be a part of their journeys. Our school community is built on dedication and passion. Every one of our teachers and staff members work incredibly hard every single day to make sure our students have the best we can offer. We believe in the potential of each student, and we strive to create an environment where they can thrive. The unique opportunities and approaches we offer at PS7 have made a significant difference in the lives of our students, and it's crucial that we can continue this work. I ask you to renew our charter so we can carry on with our mission, support our students, and continue to be a positive force in their journeys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have 3 more speakers, Michael Blair, followed by Sat Singh and Mo Kashmiri.
Mr. Blair, floor is all yours.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Superintendent, Board. My name is Michael Blair, and I'm a leader in the Oak Park community. I serve on a number of different boards, and for about 20 years, I've been in the community, and for the last, I'd say 15, involved with St. Hope Public Schools. My daughter, Akila Blair, attended PS7, and it was the first year that they opened up. So we were able to have a great experience there, really bond with the staff, the community, and help build what it's become today. She left for middle school and then came back and finished her 4 years at Sac High for high school. And here's the proud papa part. She got accepted into USC, top film school in the nation, right? USC, fight on. And so she ended up living her dream. So now she's in film and television, working exactly where she wanted to be. And I owe a lot of that to Sac High for preparing her and the whole St. Hope system. So this program, this school has worked for me and my family. So I wholeheartedly support the renewal of the charter. And if there are any challenges, then I think they should definitely be addressed. But I hope that you would support the system to allow it to continue on, because I'm very familiar with this underserved community. And I know that St. Hope it's very intentional, and it's the intentional type of program that's needed to be able to help these young folks and this particular population get the education that they need. So humbly ask you to support the charter along with myself and others, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Mr. Singh.
Honorable board members, absolute pleasure to be able to speak before you again. As previously stated, CCSA advocates for schools that demonstrate the commitment and capacity to operate academically successful schools. As a CCSA member partner, St. Hope Public Schools have access to CCSA's renewal support and resources to ensure compliance with renewal standards. CCSA firmly believes that as a middle track program, they have fully met the legal requirement for renewal. I have emailed each of the honorable board members a letter of support from CCSA. The letter also outlines the middle track renewal guidelines after AB 1505. The Ed Code is clear about the role of elected members for charter school renewals. Please take that into consideration. Know that St. Hope Public Schools are successfully serving their students and community. The students and families are entitled to continue attending the schools. Thank you again.
Thank you. Mr. Kashmiri? The floor is all yours, Mr. Kashmiri.
Hello, my name is Mo Kashmiri. I'm a parent of student in the district. I'm here to oppose the renewal of the charter school for Sac High and St. Hope. For 2 decades now, there's been this story of this district, this charter has been mired in political corruption, cronyism, and conflict of interest. At Sac Charter High, the 0 current teachers could be verified by the CTC as having clear credentials. Some are operating on preliminary credentials, and the rest are teaching despite having no credentials or short-term credentials. We know that research shows that not having credentialed teachers leads to worse student outcomes. I also want to read a statement from Vanessa Sanz-Kudabak, who's a veteran teacher, who says, I worked at this school for over a year and was shocked at how little it resembled a functioning place of education. As a teacher, I received 0 curriculum, very few supplies, and was very disheartened to see how the children were treated. I was not surprised when a lead administrator resigned based on widespread dysfunction and corruption, nor was I surprised to hear that the kids organized a walkout protest where they wore orange jumpsuits and claimed that the school treated them as prisoners. My son attended school for a few months, and I pulled him out after a kid threatened him with a taser, and the school literally did nothing, because that was not even the worst thing to happen that day. His so-called middle school did not have computers, properly credentialed teachers, or any of the basic things you would consider part of a school program. It was mostly smoke and mirrors, getting kids to say what college they would go to without actually giving them any of the skills that would prepare them for college. It is the poorest academic preparation I've seen in all my years as an educator. I'm not sure what they're doing with the money that they take away from our local schools, but I can say from direct experience, it is being seriously mismanaged. The SACB article only scrapes the surface. A student that attended this district also had to say that it was embarrassing how bad I'll stop there. My time is up. But I hope the board looks deeply into this charter school and opposes renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Kashmiri. We will be gentle to all members. Okay, we're going to move on. But in order to move on,
We have no more public comment.
okay, I almost want to put up the quiet coyote, but you guys are doing really good. Thank you very much. We are moving toward my last little statement here. So thank you again for your comments. Board anticipates a decision on the submitted charter petition will be scheduled for its meeting of September 19, 2024. And as a reminder, public comments may be submitted in writing prior to the meeting for the board's consideration. Moving on to item number 10.3. Oh, sorry. Oh, I forgot all about y'all. My bad. Sorry. We have to have board discussion. Dear colleagues, would anyone like to share? I see you guys want to hit your buttons. Hit your buttons. Miss Jean?
All right, I have similar two questions. Amanda, is there anything that you're looking at in their charter agreement that you want to draw our attention to around budget or credentialing or anything else?
So similarly, still in review. I can say that I can get you some more specifics when I've gone a little bit more in depth. There's always the petition, and then there's other data that will support that, and I'll bring both of those to you in the board report.
Great. And then my question, I believe, for Cassandra and Lisa, would be, what are the challenges that you're facing and seeing, and what are your plans to overcome those challenges?
Thank you so much for the question, and I'm with you. If there's a Cliff Note version of the petition, that'd be awesome, because those are some pretty hefty documents. But in terms of what are the biggest challenges that we face, I feel it's like most places is ensuring that our students come to school on the first day of school and every day thereafter. So it's continuing to make sure that we assist the family whenever we need to, providing transportation or support to understand what are the barriers to getting students to our school. And then while they're there, we've done some pretty fabulous things that I'm excited to share with the superintendent and others relative to our curriculum, our credentialed teachers. I mean, in fact, you've had a cleared credentialed teacher up in front of us tonight, but we've done a number of things structurally to strengthen and improve the quality of our teaching force, to provide a commercial curriculum, to support the great work that our teachers are already doing. And then I think, as all good organizations do, is take a moment to stop, pause, listen to the concerns, even when they're hard to hear, and determine what could be the root causes, what do we need to do differently, or do we need to stay the course? So for us, it's keeping everybody there, but then continuing the process of looking in the mirror and reflecting on ourselves. So thank you.
Miss Pritchett?
Thank you. Amanda Goldman. I just have a quick question. What is the district's role to help support our charters throughout the process before they get to the renewal period?
So this is the oversight process that I've talked a little bit about last year, and Ms. Johnson from Growth talked a little bit about. So we have review of documents, we have site visits, we have ongoing conversations, we have review of data, all of those things. Those things are relatively new, given that I'm relatively new, and so the idea is you would come to this day with 5 years of that data. We have a little less, and so that's the ongoing process, and that's what shows up in that annual report that got published on our website in July.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any of my other colleagues want to share? Then I guess I get to share. I do appreciate this coming before the board. I'm just going to share a little personal anecdote. My son is a PS7er. We got him there in 4th grade. And I know every experience is different. And without being able to describe it, there is some level of magic, and this is just my personal input. There was something that allowed me to feel comfortable with my son being included in a school population that looked like him. And as a parent that spent a lot of time trying to get my son where the zip code, makes your kids smarter, I drove daily. I can't tell you how many miles from North Highlands to Oak Park for years to get him here for that special community. But I kind of want to share that a little because, you know, everyone has different ideas about what they want to happen for education. I came to PS7 out of desperation, and I found hope literally where there wasn't any. But that's how I come to this. So sitting on the board today, at least being able to, you know, support and consider, you know, renewal of charters for these schools. Just like Growth said, though, it's like kids learn differently. And sometimes there's a level of flexibility that you have to have that puts you in a position where a charter school might be a good fit for your kid. But regardless of where you put your child in a school, be it dependent, independent, anywhere here, it is mostly the family's decision as to where they want their child to progress the best. And it's all individual choice. But I'm just looking at this purple room today. And while it's not an acknowledgement to any vote that's coming forward in the future, I do respect you guys showing up to show support where you feel it is needed. So I'm the last person speaking. I rarely speak. But I'm going to say it again because I neglected to it. I ignored these guys, and I'm going to say it again. So we have no more comments. We have now done board discussion. And the decision, obviously, is going to be scheduled for our September 19th meeting. And remember, submit your comments in writing. We get them prior to the meeting, along with those of you who want to come and do them in person. All right, moving on. Now we're at 10.3, and we are here again with Ms. Goldman for Sacramento Charter High School.
All right, one more time. So tonight we are here for the initial public hearing to consider the support for the renewal petition for Sacramento Charter High School. They submitted their petition on June 28th, 2024 to renew the term of their charter, which expires on June 30th, 2025. Tonight's public hearing is the first public hearing on their charter renewal. It is an opportunity to consider support for the charter petition from the district's teachers, other employees, staff, to hear from the community. Staff are currently reviewing the submitted petition. Following the review of the petition and this hearing, the governing board of the school district shall either grant or deny the charter within 90 days of the receipt of the petition. That decision is scheduled to occur at the September 19th, 2024 board meeting. The governing board of the school district shall publish all staff recommendations, including the recommended findings, at least 15 days before the public hearing, which is scheduled to happen on or about September 4th. I'm going to give the rest of this time back again to Superintendent Lisa Ruda, Board Chairperson Cassandra Jennings, and their team.
Thank you very much, and thank you again, Chair Phillips and board members. My name is Cassandra Jennings, and I just want to share with you a little bit about Sac High. For over 20 years, Sac High has been delivering on its mission of graduating self-motivated, industrious, critical thinking leaders who are committed to serving others, passionate about lifelong learning, and prepared to earn a degree from a four-year college or university. Our scholars receive an education that empowers them to be community leaders and instills within them a sense of civic responsibility as reflected in the Sac High motto, service to others. Our charter has been renewed 3 times since we opened the doors because we have demonstrated that we are producing excellent academic results for scholars who have been traditionally underserved. Our teachers and staff are laser focused on ensuring our scholars are set up for success, not only in high school, but when they graduate. We have lots of results to share with you, but I wanted to highlight some that we are most proud of. 95% of our class of 2024 graduates were accepted to four-year colleges. Thank you. I'm also proud to say that I was at the Black Honors College at Sac State, which was officially launched today, and at least two of our scholars were up there with the best of the best at Sac State. Our students earned over 350 college credits last year as part of the Panther Pipeline, our in-person, on-campus dual enrollment program with Sac City College. And we have 100% inclusion program for students with disability. This means we use a co-teaching methodology that places special education scholars in general education classrooms, and a special education staff member provides student support for their core services.
Thank you again, and good evening. I'm Lisa Ruda, the superintendent for St. Hope Public Schools. Sac High is mission-driven, and everything we do is rooted in our 5 pillars of excellence. Our students and families seek out our school because we are relentlessly focused on empowering our students to succeed both inside and outside the classroom. We work to instill in our scholars the importance of service, civic responsibility, and community leadership. We value strong critical thinking skills and the power to lead, which measures student success by what he or she or they give to someone else. Our population, as you see, is loud, proud, and very, very vocal. Our student population is diverse, and it includes an overrepresentation of several traditionally underserved groups. As reflected by the dark purple bar on the projected slide, our Sac High scholars are predominantly Black and Hispanic. Last school year, 75% of our scholars had the label socioeconomically disadvantaged on them, and 16% of our students have been identified as having disabilities. Finally, nearly 50% of our students come from families where neither parent or guardian has attended college. I'd like to introduce Christina Williams-James, an 11-year veteran of St. Hope Public Schools and the third-year principal at Sacramento Charter High School.
Good evening, board. Hi, I'm Christina Williams-James, and I'm the principal for Sacramento Charter High School. I've had the honor of being with the St. Hope family for the last 11 years, starting as a science teacher, moving into an instructional coach, and then as a dean of culture and operations before stepping into my third year as principal. I have the proud honor of presenting and representing Sac High today and sharing our pride points. First, noting that again, with all of our data, Sac High will be represented in our dark purple bar. In this data, the first group of data represents Sac High's graduates meeting the UC and CSU requirements, which you can note is 100%. All of our scholars graduate with A through G eligibility. The next set of data is our percentages of scholars attending college, which is roughly that 75%. But when you focus in on our Black scholars, that raises up 10% to 85% of our scholars graduating or attending a college. And then last but not least, you'll see our subgroup of data that is the percentage of graduates attending a UC or CSU. Sac High continues to be a proud point, and we are so happy to be able to assist and collaborate with the district in moving our scholars forward. Next, I'd love to celebrate the amazing work that we do in preparation to college. Clearly, going to is one thing, preparing is a completely different thing. Sac High has continually and historically worked with our community partners to make sure that our scholars are prepared. First, noting our historically Black colleges and university fair, where Sac High hosted it for several years before the district schools started to open it up to their campuses as well. Just last year, we had 110 college acceptances on the spot, $340,000 worth of scholarships awarded, and 4 scholars given full rides in the moment. Our next partnership is College Track, which actually piloted at Sac High first, which is a nonprofit organization that works with scholars for 4 years in high school and then 4 years after as they pursue college. Now it is open to district schools, and we are so honored to be able to provide that resource and to have been that kind of incubator of innovative best practice. Lastly is our dual enrollment program, where our scholars earn high school and college credit on campus with professors in their local environment, eliminating the obstacles of transportation to and from a college campus. We are so proud of this opportunity that Sac High has given our scholars and know that it is a best practice that the district would also learn from and enjoy. And last but not least is our track record of success. On this side, you will see how Sac High, again, continues to work strongly to get our scholars' scores as high as possible and to show their work ethic in mastering grade level standards. The top table is representing our ELA data for the last 4 years cumulatively. And as you can see, we've kind of outperformed our comparisons multiple times in those different subgroups. The lower table is representing our college and career indicators, where you can see school-wide, whether their scholar is Black or Hispanic, Latino, or socially disadvantaged, our scholars at Sac High continue to be higher percentages deemed ready and prepared for college and career success. I, again, am so honored to be working with our scholars. It's a pleasure to serve them, and Sac High is the best fit for our scholars, and I know it is for other schools. So I look forward to your yes for charter renewal. Passing it back to our superintendent.
As Mrs. Williams-James has highlighted, we've had a number of successes since our last charter renewal. Again, we have worked tirelessly to close the achievement gap, and just in June, we were named to the honor roll of the Educational Results Partnership, which recognizes top schools in California that have outperformed their peers in closing the achievement gap. We've also been recognized for our award-winning 100% inclusion program that I know you've heard Ms. Jennings and others mention this evening. And then last but certainly not least, I think it was early June, we learned that WAS, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, completed their year-long assessment and audit of our work and awarded us a 6-year accreditation through June 30th, 2030. So we're excited to highlight those pieces. As we wrap up in the last handful of seconds, I want to first invite you, superintendent, members. I know you've got day jobs. If there's any point you'd like to come visit, obviously PS7 or Sac High, please do. Just let us know, and we will happy to accommodate your schedule to come and visit our schools, talk with our students, talk with our teachers. You're always welcome. Just let us know, and we'll make that happen. Second is, I want to thank my students and staff. As you saw, one of our pillars is more time, so we are already, our high school students dismiss at 4:16 every day. So the fact that folks are here this evening, thank you, guys. Thank you. And then finally, I want to say thank you to the board itself and the superintendent. I've only been part of the St. Hope team for 2 years now. Sometimes as painful as it is, it's important to hear some of the scars that still remain from issues that may have happened 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I appreciate the forum to hear concerns. I also appreciate the forum to hear the praise, the positive experiences, because we know every school isn't for every student or every staff member, but we know there's got to be 1 or 2 out there that is, and our job together in partnership is to make that match. So thank you for your time this evening.
Public comment, how many folks do we have?
We have 7 speakers signed up.
Oh, beautiful math. Okay.
And you're good at math. You know that's 14.
Okay.
We're good. Marquise Small is first, followed by Tequila Johnson, and then Nancy Bean.
And if you are able, please come to the middle row to await your turn.
Good evening, board staff and board members and superintendents. My name is Micaiah Small. I'm in the 12th grade. This is my last year at Sakai. And I came to speak to you guys about why I think it's a great program and why I love my school. Our school is really supportive. They really have a lot of cultural weeks. As of cultural weeks, they have a lot of events that help students and have fun and also feel closer to school and more comfortable. Our school, like Ms. James was saying, has a lot of college opportunities for schools, for our students to take college classes and have college credits. As of speaking, our students will pass school and be able to get to college with a higher credit than most of the scholars. So I'm thankful for that. And then we have professors that will come in 2 days a week so our students can actually feel what it's like to be in a college presence. Yeah. So yeah, please vote yes for charter renewal. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. What's up? Floor is yours.
Good evening, board members and esteemed community members. My name is Takayla Johnson, a proud Sakai alumna and a current staff member. My journey through education and career has been profoundly shaped by St. Hope Public Schools. For over 20 years, St. Hope has been a beacon of support for both my family and me, offering crucial resources beyond the classroom and addressing the diverse needs of its students. St. Hope's unwavering commitment to the Oak Park community and its remarkable impact, specifically empowering over 90% of underprivileged scholars to pursue higher education, simply speaks volumes. As a scholar who once lacked guidance about college and its benefits, I can personally attest to the transformative role St. Hope has played in my life. The values instilled by St. Hope, choice and commitment, power to lead, and high expectations, have shaped me into a dedicated advocate for youth. It is with deep conviction that I support the renewal of St. Hope's charter, ensuring their continued positive influence for years to come. Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Good evening. My name's Nancy Bean, and my son is a student at Sakai. My son was homeschooled his whole school career up until last summer. Last summer, he came to my husband and I, and he told us that he wanted to go to high school, and he had done online research, and he wanted to go to Sakai. So we supported him in that, and we enrolled him. Last year, he went to Sakai, and he had a great year. He immediately felt welcomed and supported and seen by the community, by the principal, the counselors, the teachers, and the students. He had a great year socially and academically, and now he's looking forward to completing his senior year and to going off to college. I know my son isn't the only student who's had a great positive experience at Sakai. I know there are hundreds of letters of support from other alumni, parents, students, and community members. I urge you to renew Sakai's charter. Don't take away this valuable asset from our community. Thank you.
Next group of speakers, Pastor Daryl Heath, followed by Brad Bernstein and Mara Haney.
Floor is yours, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Superintendent and Board. My name is Pastor Daryl Heath. I pastor the St. John Missionary Baptist Church in downtown Sacramento. I'm the first Vice President of the California State Baptist Convention. I'm the political advisor for the Sacramento Baptist Ministers Alliance, and I'm the proud uncle, guardian uncle of two of Sakai alumni. I rise to ask you and plead with you to give them their charter, or renew the charter. My wife and I raised their mother, and she passed in 2010. Before she died, she asked us, please get my sons to school and help them get a good education. That was our promise to her. We have done that to the best of our ability. And one of the great things was when we put them in Sac High, they have really excelled. One has already graduated and is attending UCLA, had his first year, did a great job. The other is still at Sac High. He's doing his growing in grace and learning and becoming a better man each day. I want to really commend Principal Williams. She has really invested in these children. She took her time to make sure our boys did their best. In fact, all of the teachers did. They loved them. They cared about them. So therefore, I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I went to Thomas Jefferson Junior High, but I consider myself a Sac High dragon now because of what they've done for my two. And I'm asking you to not take that from them and to give them other students an opportunity as well. My young man is there now. He's in football. He's looking forward to going to college. He don't know where we're going to go yet, but he's doing well. And I want to thank the coaches for also being there for him. So I plead with you, please, renew their charter and let them continue to do their good work.
All yours.
Good evening. Everybody hear me okay? Good evening, board, Superintendent Allen. My name is Brad Bernstein. I teach 9th grade humanities as well as facilitate the media club and broadcasting club at Sac High. I'm excited to share with you why Sacramento Charter High School is such a meaningful and impactful place to teach. From the moment you step onto our campus, you feel a vibrant and inclusive community that values every member. Our dedicated staff is not just passionate about teaching, but truly committed to fostering a nurturing and collaborative environment. Here, professional growth is a priority, with ample opportunities for development and innovation in the classroom. As a result, we have retained 90% of our staff year over year, and we're beginning this year at the high school with no teaching vacancies. Our students are at the heart of everything we do. They bring the energy, curiosity that inspires and motivates us every day. Whether in the classroom or on the field, our students are provided the encouragement and direction necessary to perform at the highest levels. The growing support we are receiving from parents in the local community helps us create a strong partnership that enhances our educational mission. Our school's leadership is responsive and supportive. They work to ensure that we have the resources and support needed for us to excel. Together, we create a dynamic and rewarding experience where both educators and students thrive. Sacramento Charter High School is more than a place to work. It's a place where you can make a real difference, grow professionally, and be part of a caring and committed family. I also am urging you to vote yes on the Sacramento Charter High School renewal so that we can continue working towards our mission and vision of providing Black and brown students with a robust and inclusive education that specifically prepares them for college attendance. In conclusion, I am proud to present to you, the board, over 400 letters of support from our community. May I approach? Over there. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker is Mara Haney, followed by Mokesh Miri.
Floor's all yours.
Hello. My name is Mara Harvey. Sorry, it's a Harvey, not Haney. I've been teaching high school for 21 years. I am a parent of a 12th grader at McClatchy and a 7th grader at LDV. I'm also a teacher in Natomas and president of the Natomas Teachers Association. 19 years ago, I left St. Hope after 2 years and 1 month of teaching there. There were 1,200 high school students there when I left. Locally, among those of us who have left, and there are many of us, the turnover is so high, we call Sac High the Olive Garden of Sacramento schools. So many of us have worked there for a year or two before going on to a more functional district. I was in that first group of teachers, so when the charter first opened up until 2005. The average teacher retention for Sac High is 4 years compared to local districts which have a retention rate of 13 to 14 years. That's not good data, especially for a school that's been open for over 20 years. The B reports that a total of 3 teachers there have clear credentials, which this tells us that Sac High is not good for keeping and developing educators. Low teacher retention is not good for student success. I'm not here specifically to say don't renew the charter, but I would advocate that they move to a facility more suited for the 350 students that are attending now. I would also say that this district has to hold them to a much higher standard for supporting their educators. Based on what the Bees reported, the audit, the unfair labor practices, I feel like you guys would be in your rights if you wanted to shut it down, but I know the challenges around closing a charter. Every year I bring former St. Hope employees into our local in Natomas, and the story is the same as it was for me. My story included no curriculum, grades that were changed by administrators to keep athletes eligible, which is a legal practice in charter schools. It's not in non-charters. I was told that I couldn't contact certain families. I wasn't allowed to speak to certain people. Anyway, I want teachers to be safe, stay employed, and be well paid and supported in their jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kashmiri?
Hello again. My name is Mo Kashmiri. I do want to apologize. I did speak, or I quoted an earlier version of the B article that said there were no credentialed teachers. Since then, it's been updated to say that there are 3 credentialed teachers. Now, I'm just going to read what the B said, which is the report alleges a range of major violations plaguing St. Hope Public Schools, including conflict of interest among its top officers, improper use of public funding, deficient accounting processes, and the employment of a largely unqualified teaching staff. It also says concerns were most recently raised about St. Hope and screening by a group of current and former St. Hope educators and a group of parents. And they sent letters to Amanda Goldman detailing their concerns about the organization's finances, governance, and operations. In May, the district opened up an investigation, and the B article also says St. Hope has been embroiled in controversy since it first got involved with Sac City Unified, founded by then basketball star and later Mayor Kevin Johnson. A St. Hope entity has been barred from receiving federal grants following a 2008 investigation by the FBI. Administrators and students have walked off campus in protest of hired leadership, and in 2023, the Public Employee Relations Board issued a complaint against an administrator for attempting to undermine the school's newly formed union. The school has also struggled with enrollment in recent years. 10 years ago, Sac Charter High enrolled 926 students. Last year, the number was only 355. Many of the violations involve the relationship between St. Hope Public Schools and its related entities, St. Hope Academy and St. Hope Development Center. The Academy and Development Center are each nonprofits that contract with Sac Public Schools to provide services. The auditor found that all of the St. Hope's entities' finances were so intertwined that they could not consider the Academy and Development Center independent of St. Hope Public School in any way. I also want to just have folks read the article. I think there's more than enough concerns. If this district is going to approve this charter, we need to see major change in the way it spends our public money. Thank you.
No more speakers.
Okay. Then I will open it up to board discussion. Mr. Kayada?
Okay, so these comments are about PS7 and Sac High. I just wanted to put them together after I was able to hear from everyone. So I'm not really looking for a response from the school, but you're certainly welcome. So I want to acknowledge that there is a controversial history around the forming of these schools. When I was running for this office, pretty much anyone who I talked to about charter schools had an opinion about St. Hope. But I do want to follow Superintendent Ruda's comment earlier that we're not worrying about the history right now, we're worrying about where we are now and what our future looks like. I also want to acknowledge that at the time the charter was created, I myself was in high school, so I don't have any direct knowledge of this, and 20 years is a long time. With that said, the governance issues that we identified through our auditor are a very real concern. We are using public resources here for this school, and this board, as a governing body representing the residents of Sacramento, have a duty and obligation to make sure that public resources are being spent appropriately. The commingling of funds, the commingling of responsibilities is very concerning to me. I want to make sure that the funds are spent on the students, on their academic plans and their outcomes, and I want to make sure that we're appropriately following the law. So with that said, I'm not, similar to what Ms. Harvey said, I'm not saying anything right now. I'm providing guidance over the next few weeks as we head into our agenda item where we'll look at approving or denying this. The response to the plan that Superintendent Ruda mentioned, I want to make sure, just for myself, it's very important that it's very robust, that it's a very clear plan. I do understand there's a lot of great experiences and a lot of great testimonies about the school, but that doesn't answer all those questions. So it's two different things, and I want to make sure that just because people have great experiences doesn't mean that this is also not something to address. And for Amanda, just kind of a quick note, and we've talked about this before when we talk about charter oversight, and I know you've only been here a few years, but I do share, I believe Ms. Ruda, it was with the ABC 10, talking about how it's unfortunate that this conversation is happening now. Unfortunately, a lot of the time that as a governing board over charter schools, we have the opportunity to really get into the weeds in this is during renewal. And I also share the sentiment that that's unfortunate because if we're going to renew, it should be a celebration. And we have provided direction to staff, and Amanda has been doing a great job at trying to ramp up our ongoing monitoring. And to that, and just kind of a comment to the school as well, that we are really focused on making sure this isn't just once every 5 years you hear if there's problems. So if she's reaching out, from me on my behalf, that really needs to be a serious conversation. And if we need to get into the books, if we need to look at things on an ongoing basis, I don't want it to just be at renewal times. So thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kayada.
I looked right at you, Tara.
Ms. Jean?
So, same question. Are there any parts that you're aware of at this point you want to draw our attention to?
I'm ready now.
Excellent.
I thought about it. I had to really think about it. Thank you for giving me 3 times to check. So in general, for all the petitions, there are 2 sections that I would really encourage. Petitions are very long. They're over 100 pages. The executive summary is the school's report on what has happened. So it's a good place to start. The rest of the charter is sort of their promise for what comes next. And the educational program section, which is largely the first section, so the first 10 to 15 pages, really outlines what you should expect to see from them and hold them accountable to in terms of what's happening in the school, in the classroom. All of those other things, governance, bylaws, budgets, those are also available in the appendices. And if that is a thing you're good at looking at, by all means.
Excellent. All right. And then my second question, what are the challenges that you're facing right now, and how are you planning on overcoming those?
Thank you again for the question, and also thank you. I appreciate the guidance, particularly as we move closer to submitting our response to the superintendent. It's happy to know expectations, because we certainly not only want to hit them, but we want to exceed them. So what challenges? Again, making sure everybody comes to school, first day of school and every day thereafter. And then second, specifically, I would say with Sac High, similar to what we've seen everywhere post-pandemic, but we're targeting specifically enrollment. We want to continue to grow enrollment. I'm happy as I stand here right now to tell you our enrollment at Sac High is larger than it was this time when we opened last year. And I believe the way we change that is through having high-quality programs like dual enrollment, right, where you can come to high school, be taught by college professors. I think programs like that, as well as some of the credit recovery options that we haven't historically had that we launched this past year, are some of the ways we're trying to make structural changes, right, because they're all of our children. We're not going to invent new children. But how do you put the programs in place so that we can make that match I talked about earlier better and closer for families and for students? So thank you.
All right. And like Member Kayada, I was doing a lot of processing on what I wanted to share, what I'm looking at. I'm starting my 20-year teaching this year myself. And being a high school English teacher, being in education that long in many, many different positions, the relationship around education and charter schools is such an interesting and complex one. Because in 1992, when that law first passed in California, there was a recognition and an acknowledgement that our education system can be very boxed, which does not mean every student succeeds. And what if we empowered educators to develop creative solutions and approaches that would provide different opportunities and resources and experiences for students? And that was the vision in 92. And there are amazing, incredible success stories that achieve that vision. And there are terrifying, horrific stories where that has not happened and public monies have been truly wasted. And as I think about the next few weeks, and I'm thinking about how I can reconcile in my own mind the many, many people here sharing these incredible success stories and the many anecdotal stories that have come my way as an educator that concern me and hurt my heart. Because the truth is, students deserve to have the public monies that are meant for them spent on them. And in my interpretation, that means that money needs to be spent as close to the classroom as possible. Students deserve to have a high-quality professional as their teacher in their classroom. And those professionals deserve the support and the resources, the mentors, the experiences to be successful educators for those students. I appreciate all of the success stories that I have heard from Sac High, and the other ones that you have brought. I also know that every single one of the schools in Sac City Unified have those same stories. And we don't spend enough time in our board meetings on those stories because we spend a lot of time looking at all the challenges we're facing. Our special education program, the report of the BAAB, the anti-racist equity program that was just policy that was just presented to us. And I don't know how to reconcile the fact that when I asked for what challenges you were facing, none of that was brought up. It feels inauthentic, it feels intransparent. So I look very much forward to the report from Sac City Unified, looking at these charter petitions. And I very much look forward to your report on August 26th, sharing your plan to address these grave concerns. Because I was elected as a board member to ensure that these public monies do what they are intended to do, which means follow the law and follow the charter that you are committing yourselves to. So that's the info I need if I'm going to cast a yes vote on September 19th. It's a big ask for all of us. It's a big conversation, and I look forward to continuing those conversations. That's all.
Thanks. Mr. Singh.
I'll keep it brief. First of all, thank you, Chair, for addressing some of your concerns, which I also agree with. I think I want to acknowledge the fact that there's families and students who made their way here today, looks like right after football practice and cheerleading practice. But because there's so many young people in here, I think it's an opportunity to let you all know what I believe you're here for and what I believe I'm here for. We're elected officials. When you get to the age of 18, you're going to be putting people in these seats. We have an obligation, we have a duty to make sure that we make informed, educated, and smart decisions. And in doing that, we have to make sure we ask certain questions, and those questions will help us actually inform the decisions that we need to make. So as Ms. Ruda had acknowledged, there are a set of questions that have been submitted to St. Hope, and we're still waiting for those answers. And that's perfectly fine. We're gonna get those answers in a couple of weeks. So all this rousing support, which I appreciate the 400 petitions that have been passed in, those petitions and the support, I would love to see that rallying once we actually get the answers that we need to make decisions, because then what's going to show up is there's going to be opportunities for improvement. There's going to be an opportunity to address some of the needs that we're thinking about. There's going to be an opportunity to overcome some of the challenges. There's going to be an opportunity to be transparent. There's going to be an opportunity to show some authenticness that we're seeking as well, so that we can actually all collectively as a community help make St. Hope the type of school that you all have showed us through your examples that it can be. But perhaps we don't all believe that it's all really there just yet. And I think it's okay to have that difference of opinion. That's perfectly fine, but understand that the decision in September for me is not simply a decision of approval or denial. It is a decision to see if we are actually willing to step forward as a community and actually find a way to proactively improve outcomes for our students who share the spaces that your charter school our district public schools, that these spaces are actually inclusive, and we want to work with you, but in order to do that, we need to find that authentic voice from everyone as well. So that's all I'm going to say. I look forward to seeing the report, and hopefully we have a different type of discussion the next time everybody's in this room. So thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Chu Griffith?
First off, I just want to acknowledge all the students who came out today. I understand that not many students would want to stand around for about an hour on a Thursday night in Cerna Center. So I just want to thank you all for coming and sharing your stories. However, I'd also like to acknowledge that I have heard negative stories from Sac High, specifically about a lack of curriculum and teachers. That was something that was echoed again here. So I would just like to ask the people with St. Hope why they believe they have issues, or if they believe they have issues with staffing, and what is being done to address those.
Thank you. And in the interest, I'll give you the abbreviated version, full version to come in the full response, but agree. We had significant challenges with teacher shortages. When I joined the team 2 years ago, joined the first day of school, there were 15 vacancies at the high school. Okay. At that time, Sac High was doing its hiring with an outside entity. First thing we did is make some structural changes to bring HR back inside. People want to talk to the people they're going to work with. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Second is we hired someone who's specialist in credentialing, right? Because the California process, as you know, is very expensive, is cumbersome, and that's on top of the fact teaching is a really hard profession. Never been in your classroom, but I'm assuming you're a better teacher now than you were 20 years ago. That's just how we grow. And so we hired somebody who knew credentialing inside and out. So particularly post-pandemic, when so many people left the teaching profession, right? And we had folks who hadn't taught before, they had somebody to help them navigate what is an incredibly difficult and expensive process. Third piece is we created an office separate from HR that focuses on staff and student recruitment, and it's led by someone who has been a teacher, a fully credentialed teacher here, who's been a principal here, who leads that charge to go out and attend over 30 hiring fairs every year to get the right people in place. Fourth piece, without making everybody, St. Hope Public Schools, when I got here, had a longstanding practice that teachers built their own curriculum. I come here from two very large school districts where we relied on commercial curriculum. That was foreign to me, particularly post-pandemic, where so many people had joined the teaching forces who weren't necessarily fully equipped just yet to teach, to ask them to teach a longer day and create all your own curriculum. Not sustainable. So we made the decision after about an 18-month process where part of me joining the team was finding out why did we do what we did, and then meeting with our teachers, meeting with our administrators to look at the commercial curriculums out there, to get some help from some outside groups who had done this before. And I'm happy to say that as we started this year, we now provide ELA and math curriculum for grades TK through 12. We provide science in 3rd through 8th grade. And it's not meant to be one or the other. I'm sure, as you know, teaching's that right sweet spot of your delivery, you internalizing the content, but you can't do it all on your own. So very long way of saying, I'm with you. There was a problem. I saw it immediately on my first day of work at St. Hope, but we've tried to be thoughtful and deliberate about making some structural changes so that we can recruit, we can retain, and part of retaining is supporting our teachers. As I sit here today, we've got more than 80% of our teachers who came back from this year to last year. Not where we want to be, and as a speaker said, you want to do this 4 or 5 years. It doesn't want to be a one-time piece, but we've got to start someplace, and we have. We've also partnered with, something that doesn't get out there, we partnered with SCTA to elevate our base teacher salaries. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying we're going out for a drink after, okay? I am saying that we share this space together as you and I and this entire room do. We each have roles that we're appointed to do, and we've got to do them to our fidelity with what we're charged to doing, and so we can put our heads on the pillow at night. But yeah, like credentialing, huge issue. Vacancies, huge issues. We do not have the problem solved, but as I stand here today, we are better than we were last year, and I expect to be better next year, the following year, and so on. So thank you for the question and the opportunity to at least provide part of the answer before we supply the full response. Ms. Pritchett?
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Goldman, I want to bring back that same question as the last one, the district's role. And in my line of questioning, I am not casting blame on the district. I'm not casting blame on Sac-High or PS7. When I look around this room and I see all of these students that are standing up, these are our students. They are part of Sac-High. These are our leaders for tomorrow, right? And I just think to myself, you've been here for 2 years. I really appreciate you putting those things in place to help, as you're going through the process, that way we're not here like we are now with these line of questionings. But it makes me think, was it happening before? What supports were happening before? And I don't want you to answer that, right?
Good, because I don't know.
So back to my original question. What are the next steps? Because, aside from getting the report on the 26th, right? And then what do we do with that report? Are you working with our charters? That's what I want to know.
So if I understand, the question is, what happens immediately in the next 4 week, whatever number of weeks, and then also what happens in the coming year or so. So the first step is taking that report, sharing it with other staff, bringing you all in, and taking that to bring to the board. These are the highlights of the petition. These are the highlights of the data from the last 5 years, and these are the responses to that. And that will come to you all, and then you get to make a decision about renewal. For any of our charters, whenever there's an issue, whenever there's a thing to correct, like that was in our annual report this year, folks had some little things, some big things to correct, then that's a process that I follow up with them in the coming year. And there's usually a deadline, please correct by this time. Most of them are small, and for the most part, they are things that are easily correctable. Your website is missing this, you need to include public comment in your board minutes, whatever, they all have public comment, don't quote me on that. So that's sort of the process. It is developing. Part of the challenge is that we all have to sort of learn what we're looking for in this new land of new laws since 2020. This is the sort of first round of these renewals, and renewal does drive what we're looking for in oversight. So it is a balance. So I think what I put out this year was version 1.0, and with feedback from you all, with feedback from our schools, we'll continue to evolve that so that we have that accountability and support balance.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's hard to think that this is where we've gone with this, right? And I appreciate that you're putting those markers in place to be able to help. And regardless of what happens, it is all of our responsibility to make sure that these students are getting the best education, right? So, thank you.
Thanks. Any of my other colleagues want to share anything? That means I get to speak. Change is good, and ownership of things not done well is also good. So I'm just kind of sharing with my colleagues. It is amazing that we are charged with oversight of districts that may have similar problems like us. So they are not alone in, some of the hurdles that need to be jumped over. Obviously, some of them may be different. We'll be looking at, offers of correction. But I want us to not necessarily, I'm not saying don't be biased, but I'm saying that we need to look also at ourselves. So this amount of reflection that we need to do while we're looking into whether they have done something so egregious that we cannot renew, we also need to look at ourselves. We have enough folks coming for us that it's important that we understand that, negative digs and all that. I didn't hear it this evening.
But I just want to make sure that, you know, that everyone in the public understands that we are, you know, accepting some level of humility with regard to our perception of wherever we think perfection is for us, that should be the same for these folks. So they're looking inside, they're looking internally, they're trying to figure out how they need to answer to us. The work that they're doing is also the same work that we have been doing to make the changes that we are making, and that change is good. And I just want us to be comfortable with the fact that change can be good also on this end of the dais. So with that said, we are going to move on to another topic, but I want to state again, I want to thank you all for your comments, and we anticipate, this is for Sac-High Charter, we anticipate that a decision on the submitted charter petition will be scheduled for the September 19th, 2024 meeting. And as a reminder, all public comments can be submitted in writing trying to find the right word, submitted in writing if you are not going to come here publicly to speak, and we will receive them prior to our meetings. Then we will be moving on. We have one more public hearing. I am about to jettison because I need to go, but I need Member Singh to step in for item 10.4. I'm not calling for a recess, but I am.
The time hasn't started yet, so. All right. Just hanging out for a minute. So a lot of time. Sometimes, yeah. Just depends. It's another offense. Superintendent Allen is skip. Maybe just go to talk with somebody. I gotta check. You're making me blush.
All right. Can you hear me? All right. All right. My name is not Gracie Phillips, but we're moving on to 10.4, public hearing on adoption of resolution number 3432 to adopt 2024 developer fee justification study and developer fee increase. Mr. Browning.
Yes. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Allen. I'm Nathaniel Browning, a director in Facility Support Services. With me, I have Ben Wangberg, Facilities Planning Manager, and Doug Floyd with Koppel and Gruber Public Finance. We are here to provide a public hearing on the adoption of an updated developer fee justification study and developer fee increase with a subsequent board action. With that, I'll hand it over to Ben.
Good evening, Superintendent Allen and members of the board. I am Ben Wangberg, and as Nathaniel mentioned, we will ask you to move into conference action after a short presentation from Doug Floyd and the board opening the floor up for public hearing. Ed Code Section 17620 authorizes school boards to levy school fees to offset the impacts of new residential and commercial construction on our schools. In order to levy these statutory fees, a school district must prepare and adopt a fee justification study as outlined in Education Code and Government Code. The fee justification study serves as the basis for justifying the amount of Level 1 fees and presents and documents the nexus findings as required by law. The State Allocation Board meets every 2 years to adjust Level 1 fees, and it is recommended that districts conduct a fee justification study following those even year meetings. The district last adopted a justification study and subsequent fees in 2015. We are long overdue for adopting a new justification study, and Facilities intends to not only correct this by presenting the current study, but also align the district with SAB processes by bringing an updated study forward for your review every 2 years. With that, I would like to turn it over to Doug to get into the details of the justification study itself.
Thank you, Ben. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Allen, district cabinet, audience members. Again, my name is Doug Floyd. I'm representing the firm Koppel and Gruber Public Finance. My goal tonight is to provide a very brief overview of developer fees, what is required to bring this item to the board tonight, and some of our findings and determinations in justifying the fees that are being proposed. So where's the... So as Ben mentioned, school districts are allowed to levy fees on new residential and commercial and industrial development. I'm emphasizing new, so think new housing, new shopping centers, new warehouses. These fees are collected on a one-time basis and as a condition of that development. So if I were building a home within the community, I would have to pay these fees in order to acquire a building permit in order to construct the home. The purpose of these fees are to provide a funding in order to offset, at least in part, the impact of those development projects on school facilities. So if you think about new housing brings new students, those students must be accommodated through the school district's facilities. These fees that are collected can be used for not only the construction or reconstruction of school facilities, but also refurbishment and also interim and central and operational facilities as well. When we talk about school fees, there are different levels. Tonight, we're presenting what we refer to as level 1 or statutory fees. These are the baseline fees that school districts can charge in the state of California. These fees are capped. These fees caps apply to school districts throughout the state. And as Ben mentioned earlier, these fee caps can be adjusted every other year, an even number of years, to account for inflation. And the State Allocation Board last increased the maximum fees to $5.17 for new residential construction and 84 cents for new commercial industrial construction. The school district is currently charging $3.36 for new residential construction and 54 cents for new commercial industrial construction. And as Ben mentioned, those were last approved in 2015. In order for districts to increase fees, they must go through this process of preparing a fee justification study. My firm helped the district prepare the study. It has been available for public review for the requisite 10 days, and it is included in the board agenda packet tonight. So the study itself must present certain findings, and it must identify the purpose and use of the fee. It must determine that there's a reasonable relationship between school fee that's charged and the cost of providing facilities for the students generated from those development projects. So we call that the reasonable relationship test. And then there's an additional requirement that the district provides an annual accounting of those fees. These fees are deposited in Fund 25, and an annual and 5-year report is presented to the board each year that details the collections and expenditures of those fees, and then also a plan for those fees, the use of the fees. We put in this government section code here. It's a long description, but we wanted to emphasize that the need for facilities can include the need to refurbish existing facilities in order to maintain an existing level of service, or to achieve an adopted level of service that's consistent with an adopted plan. So I know the district has gone through a facilities needs assessment, a facilities master plan. So the use of those school fees isn't just limited to the construction of brand new schools or brand new campuses. It can be used for refurbishment or for modernization or towards a service goal. In order to satisfy what I earlier referred to as the reasonable relationship test, the study must make a projection of housing within the district. It must estimate the students generated from that housing, and then it must estimate the cost attributable to those students, with the ultimate goal of answering the question, do these cost impacts either exceed the maximum fee that has been adopted to the state, in which case the district can justify the full fee amount, or if the cost impacts are below the maximum fees that are authorized by the state, then the district would be limited to whatever that cost impact is. So this looks like the slide before it, but it provides some of the findings in the 2024 fee justification study that's being presented. Our firm, using information from the city and county planning departments and building departments, looked at opportunities for new housing in the district. We estimated that approximately 5,000 units could be built over the next 10 years. And that really breaks down to around 700 new single-family homes with around 4,300 high-density multifamily condo-type homes. In order to project students from those housing units, we evaluated student yield rates, which is the average student per household in the district. And using those average rates, estimate that from those units, you could expect around 700 students over the next 10 years. The district has very detailed and comprehensive facilities costs and facilities plans. As you're aware, in 2019, the district conducted a facilities needs assessment that identified needs of amounting to about $3.5 billion. If we escalate those costs into 2024 dollars, that estimate is closer to $4.5 billion. The focus of our study was just on those costs, which we're calling eligible costs, that are related to growth or modernization type items that could be funded through these school fees, and that amounted to about $1.5 billion. When we derive a cost per seat across the school district, you'll see those in the lower left-hand corner of the slide. So around $50,000 for elementary and middle school seats, and then around $11,000 per high school seat. We then applied those costs per seat to the number of students projected from new housing, and estimated in order to accommodate for those students, it would amount to around $28 million. The rectangle on the right-hand side of the slide shows how that breaks down to a cost per square foot. And when we distill all the numbers down to a cost per square foot, it's $5.13, which is just below the maximum fee authorized by the state, which indicates that the district would be limited to charging $5.13 or up to $5.13 and not the full fee amount. Whereas new residential development has more of a direct impact on student or on school facilities, Commercial is indirect. It's really derived from employment opportunities. As new commercial centers, warehouses, et cetera, are built within the district, those create employment opportunities, which then drives housing opportunities. We also looked at inter-district impacts, so students enrolled in the district on an inter-district basis. There's an impact from people parents driving into the district to go to work, and they're bringing their students into the school district for enrollment. When we subtract out the residential impact, which means that we look at the total cost impacts for commercial and industrial development, and because that drives housing needs, but housing is also paying their share of developer fees, there becomes a net cost impact. And when we break that down, the state requires us to evaluate the commercial industrial fees on various categories. You can see on the left-hand column the net cost impacts and the maximum amount that the district can charge for those categories. Because the the maximum is 84 cents, the cap is 84 cents. So even if industrial business parks have a cost impact of 94 cents, limited to 84 cents, but for cost impacts that are below the state authorized level, so industrial, warehousing, manufacturing, it's really limited to what those cost impacts are and what the district can charge. So I know I'm over time. This just provides a very quick timeline of bringing this item to the board. This is a notice public hearing, so the notice had to be published and was published in a local newspaper twice. That's a requirement. There's a public hearing scheduled tonight. And then if the fees are adopted, they become effective 60 days later, which is a requirement in the statutes. So that would be October 7th. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
All right, thank you so much. Public comment?
We do not.
All right, board discussion. Ms. Jean.
Thank you for that presentation. You answered most of my questions as we went along, which I always appreciate. I do live in Midtown, and I just wanted to confirm there are lots of the high-rising being built, and so I'm assuming that is part of all of this development. Because I tend to think of like suburbia and a whole new development and a whole new school, but we're pretty much contained at this point. We're not building that way, but there is a lot of development happening. So just wanted to make sure I was accurate in that assumption.
That's accurate, yeah, 4,300 multifamily units.
There's a lot going up right now. It's pretty crazy, and I can only imagine what that's going to mean for our elementary schools, and then of course our middle and high schools through that. So thank you.
Doug is accurate, but I do want to say that the one caveat to that is the rail yards agreement has a mitigation agreement, so that was taken out of this report and not included because we have a separate agreement with that at a different rate.
That is good to know. Thank you.
All right, Member Kayada.
I want to apologize up front for not sending you these questions in advance. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the charter renewals and kind of really formed this within the past 24 hours. So if it's not an answer you can get from me right now, I understand that. So as I'm considering as a board when we adopt fees, anytime we're working with money, we're working with our budgets, we're also talking about our priorities as a board. And for me at least, one of our priorities should be to incentivize housing for people who need it the most, for unhoused families, for low-income families, for workforce housing. Consistent with that priority, I'm wondering if there's any way or what the appropriateness and legality would be of us structuring our impact fees so that, for example, if we were to develop workforce housing on some of our property, that could be exempt. Or if someone were putting in an ADU or a deed-restricted low-income housing, we could potentially give them the break on the cost per square foot. So, loose question. I'm just going to see if there's any.
Yeah, the way that the statutes treat residential development is it's all inclusive. So there's no subcategories for residential. There are some exemptions for age-restricted housing, but there's none per se for affordable housing or, there are certain limitations for accessory dwelling units and as far as providing certain exemptions. But as far as having categorical exemptions, you could talk to legal counsel, but most legal counsel's view is to avoid that because it becomes a slippery slope in, treating one type of residential property versus another. And there's been court cases that have actually been built in favor of school districts by acknowledging that the treatment of residential property is all-inclusive and not subcategorical. So that's my take on it. It could be discussed with legal counsel as far as, what the legality is of actually breaking up those components, but it's not something that I've seen in the industry. And again, there is some potential legal challenges if you do provide exemptions for some categories versus the others that are not explicitly stated in the statutes.
Okay, I appreciate that. And, I'm not trying to throw a wrench in this. I think we need to approve this. And especially since we're going out for a bond, that we're making sure we're at least getting the amount of money we should get from new construction. I guess that's more of just kind of my request for staff is when we have the opportunity to look at ways to incentivize housing that we know we need in Sacramento, maybe it's not this today, but that this should be something that's on our mind as a district. And, I do think also, I'm going to look at Ann for a second, but, I think our district, we have some excess properties. We should be at least partially in the business of trying to see what we can do to get housing for our workforce in particular who need it. And, we have given nice raises, especially to our lowest paid employees with the new minimum wage that we've set, but it's still not necessarily enough to live where you need to live with your family in Sacramento, and people have to drive, and we should have all of our employees should be able to live here in the district. So just a broader conversation, I guess, but I appreciate the information. Thank you very much.
Student member.
Real quick, I'd like to foreshadow with my question that I don't know too much about school finances, so please bear with me if I get something wrong. But with the education facilities bond on the November ballot for school building construction and maintenance, would SUSD receive any of this bond money if it were to pass? And if so, would this change financial needs or associated student costs?
Can you repeat the part where you said if so?
Like if the education facilities bond were to pass, would SUSD be receiving any of this money? And if so, would that change any of the calculated student costs or projected student costs?
Yes, if the state bond were to pass, well, that is a reimbursement that we would be eligible for if we had matching funds. So that's why it's important to have local bonds as well. So we would be eligible to apply for that if we qualify. So there's certain characteristics of projects that qualify for state reimbursement through that bond project. And so that would help us. Doug mentioned that we have $4.5 billion worth of facility needs within the district. And so looking at Measure H that was passed in 2020, that was only $750 million. We look at that as kind of a down payment. And so looking at all the different funding mechanisms to make sure that we can provide adequate student housing and programming in those facilities. We're looking at local bond measures, looking at capitalizing on the state bonds through reimbursements wherever possible. And then this is another possibility of taking developer fees to address the impacts on development to help fill that gap of other needs.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I have a quick question. You mentioned interim housing in the first or second slide. What is interim housing?
Interim housing is mostly like relocatables that are put in as, say, you're modernizing or reconstructing a wing of a school.
Right.
In order to accommodate for those students, typically you have relocatables that are brought in on an interim basis while those projects are being completed.
Okay, to clarify, we're not talking about housing for families, or you're talking about housing for the school location, the school buildings?
Yeah,
Got it.
school
Okay.
facilities.
Perfect. All right. If there's no more board discussion, we would need a motion. All right, Ms. Pritchett with the motion and Ms. Jean with the second, and we need to do a vote, so we'll start with the student preferential vote.
Aye.
Member Kayada.
Aye.
Member Jean.
Aye.
Member Pritchett.
Aye.
Member Rhodes.
Aye.
Member Singh.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you. All right. Jumping on. Item 11.1, approval of the submission of credential waiver applications to CTC, CCTC. Is that it? CCTC.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Allen. My name is Christina Pena, and I am here tonight to present a credential waiver application and request for your approval. I'm here this evening because Ed Code provides an opportunity for districts to waive portions of credential requirements in order to allow educators a little more time to complete their credential requirements. In order to submit credential waiver applications for certificated employees in need, the CTC, which is the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, requires a public notice to process and board approval prior to submission of any waiver applications. Presented here are the data trends for credential waiver requests within our district over the past few years. We remain committed to working collaboratively with our employees to ensure they meet their credentialing requirements. The applicants listed are actively working to fulfill their CTC requirements to obtain English learner authorizations for instructing English learners. The waivers requested this evening will grant the teachers additional time to complete their English language authorization while continuing to work with our students. Questions?
Public comment.
We have no public comment.
All right, do we have any board discussion? Ms. Jean, go ahead.
Was just going to say I really appreciate seeing all the ROTC and CTE folk. Are these, do you happen to know, are they in circumstances where they're coming in as like a second career educator with some wonderful CTE experience and then they need the time to get that credential to be able to teach?
Yeah, so at times they don't have the English learners authorization.
Yep.
So this allows them the additional time to get that education in order to provide that for our students.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
That was a great question. Any other questions? Just wanted to say stuff. All right, if there's no other questions, let's see if there is a motion. All right, Ms. Pritchett motioned and Ms. Jean seconded. Let's go to student preferential vote.
Aye.
Member Kayada.
Aye.
Member Jean.
Aye.
Member Pritchett.
Aye.
Member Rhodes.
Aye.
Member Singh.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
All right, 12.0, communications. We are going to start with student member report.
Awesome. I just want to thank you all for welcoming me for my first meeting here. I also want to give a shout out to the SAC, specifically our director, Vanessa Reyes, for all the help she's provided, and also student board member emeritus Miller Segura for helping me along this process. I'd also like to highlight that we are still looking for more students to join the Student Advisory Council this year. Specifically, we have openings from American Legion, Burbank High School, Health Professions, Hiram Johnson, George Washington Carver, the Met School of Accelerated Academy, and Umoja International. So if any students are interested in joining those, or joining the SAC and are from those school sites, we'd love to have anybody. And then with SAC, we are also getting ready to have our orientation soon. We're starting back with hopefully more school sites represented. We hope to gain more, like I said, and we hope to be able to present more initiatives to you guys this year. I also really quickly want to shout out my brother. He left, but he was here earlier. If you saw a teal kid wandering around in the back, that was him. He doesn't like sitting around, so I'm really thankful that he was able to come out here. And I think that's all. And I'm looking forward to more board meetings this year.
All right, thank you. We have our superintendent's report.
Thank you. I will be brief. Good evening and welcome back to the 24-25 school year. Yeah. Yes. On Monday morning, I had the pleasure of joining the staff at New Joseph Bonheim Community Charter to welcome students and families. I want to commend Principal Diane Wiley for her and her team for creating such an exciting atmosphere for their first day of school, including a red carpet for students and a photo booth for parents to cherish their first day memories. Thank you to our New Joseph Bonheim staff for setting the tone and getting our students and families excited about school. That helps us improve attendance, which increases the possibility for students after graduation. Tomorrow, we have the Met and Sacramento New Tech Early College High School, new name, returning to class, and the rest of our schools open on August the 19th. We are ready for another terrific year at Sac City Unified School District, and I'm looking forward to welcoming back more of our students and staff across the district in the weeks ahead. Thank you.
Board members who would like to go? Nobody. Wow.
I'll say something.
Press the button.
I did.
I don't see you.
I pressed
the
button to talk, not to be seen. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do this. We'll keep it brief. August 10th, from 9 to 11, Mac Road Valley High Community Center will be holding its free backpack and school supplies drive. So or for the community. So if you guys need backpacks, any last minute backpacks or supplies, Mac Road Valley High Community Center on August 10th. Their address is 7833 Center Parkway, Sacramento, California, 95823. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. I will be brief as well. Quick story. I want to thank athletic director at Hiram Johnson, Mr. Altmans, who happened to be at the right place at the right time. There was a student in my area who was having some questions about wanting to go to Hiram Johnson and decided to drive by, and Mr. Altmans was there and welcomed the student and asked him to come try out for one of the teams, and it sounds like there's going to be a fit. So it's a happy story about just making sure that we have folks who are so dedicated to our district, we have staff who's so dedicated to our district, for someone to be out there and be welcoming to a family that's just coming to take a look. I think it makes all the difference in the world to really help us break stereotypes and break stigmas and really do create an inclusive district here at Sac City Unified. So I doubt Mr. Altmans is listening, but someone pass it on to Mr. Altmans that I thank him for the effort, the extra effort. And then also welcome back to everybody in the back, some of whom I saw the other day in Elk Grove. Ray's looking, I'm not even talking about you, Ray, because you were not there yesterday, but you should have been. All that to say, that's it. I'm gonna stop talking, so we're gonna move on to the next. Oh, Miss Jean, go ahead.
Thank you. I just realized I did want to share that last week I had the honor of participating in Education International's 10th World Congress. This is the International Educator Teacher Union. There were 1,300 educators from 170 plus different countries. We got to debate the many, many issues of education. There is a worldwide global teacher shortage, 44 million teachers shortage around the globe in the next few years. We discussed issues of AI and the development of AI and its impact on education. We talked about educator well-being and mental health. And just hearing the stories around the world the things that we are debating and the issues that we are facing here and how they are impacting the world is just, it's hard to explain how getting outside of the bubble of the states and thinking about like the global planet and what education means and what democracy means, and how much the world has its eyes on our coming election in November. We also heard from Palestinian educators reporting on truly horrific stories of hundreds of schools bombed, thousands of students and educators harmed, hurt. 1 in 5 students have lost a hand or a foot. Educators are teaching with no resources, no school district buildings, no pay for 9 months. Just came back with yet again the incredible privilege we have here and the incredible importance of education and democracy. It was an honor to be in that space, as it is an honor to be here, and I'm excited to continue advocating for our students, both here in Sac City and frankly as a whole planet, because the future of our planet's depending on all of us. Sorry to make it really deep. It was quite a profound experience again, so thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for uplifting the voices of those kids in Palestine. So moving on to, I believe, consent agenda. So consent agenda, Brian, do we have public
We have
comment?
one speaker signed up, Member Singh, and that is Mo Kashmiri.
Come on up, Mo. Mo.
Hi, thank you, board. I know you want to go home. In terms of, I was going to ask if you could pull 13L for discussion. I think, I had talked to Nathaniel, and I think I must have misunderstood him. I thought there weren't any positions open for the Bond Oversight Committee. I'm interested in being in the Bond Oversight Committee, and I thought there weren't, but would love some explanation on that. That's it. And again, I also wanted to say, we really need the board members to get out there around Measure D, the school bond. It's going to be on the November ballot, and a lot of people are feeling like, when I've approached my union about it, they're like, where's the campaign? Where's everything going? Like, why hasn't anybody reached out to us yet? So I think we really need the board to lead on making sure we pass Measure D to help rebuild Sutter Middle School, to help get the pool over at McClatchy and a bunch of other items as well. Thanks.
I have a question, Ann. Can we actually get clarification on that or not before we move the agenda? Okay. Hello, Chris. Convenient place to be sitting?
The application process for being a citizen on the Bond Oversight Committee is continuously open, and we're always reviewing those applications. They can be found online, or you can check in with Nathaniel.
Nathaniel's back there. All right. Perfect. No other comments? Thank you. Okay, if so, do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
All right. That was Chinua first, and who was second? Okay, I'll pick Ms. Pritchett. All right. Now, student preferential vote.
Aye. Member Kayada?
Aye.
Member Jean?
Aye.
Member Pritchett?
Aye.
Member Rhodes?
Aye.
Member Singh?
Aye. Wonderful, thank you. Item 14.0, future board meeting dates and locations. We want to note for all future board meetings, open session will be starting at 6 p.m. So you will all receive, I'm not gonna say you all, a revised calendar will be included in the consent agenda at our next meeting. All right, I think I have to read out the dates, so give me a second. Okay, future board meeting, dates and locations, September 5th, 2024 right here, September 19th, 2024 right here at 6 and 6. And do we have a motion to adjourn? All right, thank you.